Chapter 852. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Body Training Martial Arts. This Bailey Hongzhuang is too nonchalant. Does she think that eldest brother's 2 extra levels of strength are just for show? The corners of Nangong Yuer's mouth curled in mockery, but the smile in her eyes gradually deepened. Bailey Hongzhuang's hand was broken. This was also good news. People who come from small places are always a little ignorant. They really think that their strength is great. Nangong Yujin said languidly. Boom. 2 fists, one big and one small, collided loudly under the crowd's astonished gaze. The scenario of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken, that people expected, didn't materialize. Nangong Ouchin was surprised by the huge power coming from her fist. He did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang's strength to be so strong. I underestimated you, Nangong Ouchin said slowly. He originally wanted to overwhelmingly defeat Bailey Hongzhuang. But now it seems that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength would not be so easy to solve. The children of the royal family are always so arrogant. Bailey Hongzhuang was not polite at all when she spoke. Since it was already an antagonistic situation, she would not respect her opponent. Nangong Ouchin's face turned cold. A hint of sullen anger flashed in his eyes, his body moved, and he attacked like a storm. Bang bang bang. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't give in at all. Her figure waged war with Nangong Ouchin. The fierce attacks continued to erupt, and the two intertwined together like whirlwinds. The fierce energy also burst out sonic explosions. As the hits continued, Nangong Ouchin's surprise increased. Usually female practitioners are very weak in melee combat, but Bailey Hongzhuang didn't seem to be affected in any way, and her melee combat ability was very good. What he couldn't understand was that Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation base was clearly 2 levels weaker than his. So why didn't he feel Bailey Hongzhuang's weakness at all as they fought? Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang has cultivated body training martial arts? Nangong Ouchin was a little puzzled. Although body training martial arts are not uncommon, good body training martial arts are rare. Bailey Hongzhuang can even fight against 2 levels of combat power disadvantage, which shows that Bailey Hongzhuang's martial arts level is high. It seems that the reputation of first place in each academy is not without merit. He can't underestimate the enemy. Swish. The 2 figures shot apart. Bailey Hongzhuang took a few steps back, releasing the energy in her body. Nangong Ouchin's strength was, as everyone said, it not blown out of proportion. Even using the Jade body training skill, her strength was still somewhat lacking. The gap in strength between the two was not small. Under the sleeve of her robe, Bailey Hongzhuang's fist filled with red blood, and she trembled faintly. She was unavoidably injured in the last collision. However, the crowd was extremely horrified after seeing this scene. Nangong Yujin had a look of incredulity on his face. Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation level is clearly 2 levels lower than Nangong Ouchin's. How can she persist under such a storm of attacks? How strong is Nangong Ouchin? No one with weaker strength has ever been able to last against Nangong Ouchin for so long. This is too bizarre. The eyes of Xia Jiqing and the others were full of excitement. Hongzhuang is really great. Even with Bailey Hongzhuang on stage, they never had any hope, because the gap between the 2 levels was huge. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance really amazed them. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 853. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Appearance by Sure. Since it's already a match to the death, let's get it over with. The coldness in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes gradually deepened. She already had a certain understanding of Nangong Ouchin's strength from this initial confrontation. Although her cultivation was not as good as Nangong Ouchin's, she is not without the strength to fight. The word concede has never been in her dictionary. She will never know the final result without fighting for her life. Nangong Ouchin's handsome eyes narrowed slightly. That Bailey Hongzhuang could still say such words in this situation meant that Bailey Hongzhuang was planning to go all out. Since you are so eager to die, I will help you out. Nangong Ouchin's voice was also full of chill. He couldn't continue to let Bailey Hongzhuang go on. What he wanted was a crushing victory, so that everyone could see that the majesty of the royal family could not be trampled upon. On the other side, Baisher turned his head to look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang nod, Bai Shi's gaze fell on the opposite flame lion. A trace of fear flashed in the eyes of the majestic flame lion after seeing the white lion. His sturdy figure also began to tremble. Seeing this, everyone looked astonished. Why does it seem that the flame lion is afraid of that little white beast? What kind of little white beast is that? Why have I never seen one before? Everyone was puzzled. Although there are many types of beasts, the people present did not lack in experience. They are even familiar with ornamental beasts, but they had never seen a beast like Bai Shi. You think too much. How could the flame lion be afraid of such a small beast? Other people also disagreed. The flame lion is very rare among contract beasts. How could the contracted beast of a student from the backcountry Kinglan Academy be better than His Royal Highness? Old Huan, what kind of contract beast is this? Jian Qingxiu is not a stupid person. The concept of hierarchy among beasts is stricter than that of humans. Only when low-level beasts meet high-level beasts would there be such a reaction. In the past, they only regarded Bailey Hongzhuang's monster beast as a pet. But now it seems that this white lion is obviously not just ornamental. Huan Qi was also a little surprised. In fact, he had never paid attention to the white lion. This, I have never thought about either. Huan Qi said slowly. However, Jian Qingxiu and Song Hongxi obviously didn't believe Huan Qiyu, and thought that Huan Qiyu was trying to purposefully show off. Regardless of the strength of this beast, Bailey Hongzhuang will not be able to beat Nangong Aochen. Song Hongxi did not have any positive feelings for Huan Qiyu. Yesterday, Huan Qiyu revealed Wei Hanyun's identity in front of everyone, which humiliated him. Now he only hopes that Kinglan Academy will return in defeat and come in last place. Huan Qiyu glanced at Song Hongxi indifferently. At least my students from Kinglan Academy still have the courage to fight, unlike yours that don't even have the courage to fight. Seeing Huan Qiyu's words become more and more rude, Song Hongxi also snorted coldly. You'd better pray that the good seedlings of your Kinglan Academy don't die on this competition stage. Huan Qiyu was furious, but Song Hongxi had already looked away. This old guy was going too far. However, Song Hongxi's words reminded Huan Qiyu that he must pay constant attention to the situation on the stage and not allow Bailey Hongzhuang's life to be in danger. Thank you for reading on Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 850, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort posted on December 6, 2022 by Staltel. No comments on Chapter 850. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort killed directly. Isn't this just a bullshit royal family? He's so full of himself. Master, let's kill Nangong Aochen, the heir to the royal family. A cold light flashed in Xiaohei's eyes. If Nangong Aochen's attitude was good it would be fine. But this attitude is simply inexcusable. No matter how you look at it, this is Nangong Xiujia's problem, and has nothing to do with the master. It is really disgusting that the royal family puts on such a sanctimonious appearance. It's okay to kill, but it can't be done in plain sight. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly, her face was covered with frost. An eye for an eye. Too, since Nangong Aochen has the heart to kill her, he should be prepared to be killed by her. It's just that in this royal arena, in full view of everyone, she can't do it. Because they are now in Qingxiao Kingdom. Once Nangong Aochen falls, the entire Kinglan Academy would be implicated. If it was just her, leaving Qingxiao Kingdom wouldn't be a big deal. But Kinglan Academy wouldn't be able to escape. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her chin slightly and looked at Nangong Aochen coldly. Let's fight. Since it is unavoidable, let's fight. There was also a hint of coldness in Nangong Aochen's eyes. As an adult of the royal family, he must obliterate the existence of all those who insult the dignity of the royal family. Doubt flashed in the eyes of Huan Qiyu and the others. Although the issue between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujia has some impact, the atmosphere between the two was too serious. The competition begins. With the referee's order, Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochen started the battle. The white lion jumped down from Bailey Hongzhuang's arms. His little body stared at the flame lion beside Nangong Aochen. Damn guy. How dare he want to kill his master? He will destroy this flame lion opponent first. Nangong Aochen couldn't help but be a little amused after seeing the ornamental contract beast in Bailey Hongzhuang's arms, also participating in the battle. The flame lion's mouth can easily bite off the neck of this little guy. However, he also understood Bailey Hongzhuang's reason for doing this. Since Bailey Hongzhuang was already going to die, there was no reason why this contract beast shouldn't participate in the battle. When the audience saw the white lion confronting the flame lion, they couldn't help laughing out loud. Haha, this little guy also came to fight. The flame lion is 10 times bigger. Are the people from Kanglin Academy here just to make jokes? If this little guy can withstand a blow from the flaming lion, I'll eat this chair. Almost everyone was laughing. This was just too humiliating. Xia Jiqing and the others were also stunned. Although Bailey Hongzhuang normally always hugged the white lion, they had never seen the white lion fight. Thinking of the tyrannical strength of the flame lion, the white lion might die immediately on this competition arena. They didn't understand why Bailey Hongzhuang would do this. Only Mo Yunjue in the stands had a glint of understanding in his eyes. The power inside this little guy is beyond everyone's comprehension. You're quite enlightened. Nangong Aochen also had a touch of admiration for Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't know whether it was self-confidence or ignorance, but she still didn't show any panic before death. Bailey Hongzhuang coldly glanced at Nangong Aochen, her red lips parting slightly. You lack enlightenment. TL/N1 is literally, he started pretending to breathe heavily as soon as he's called fat. To another idiom literally. You do the first day of the month. I'll do the 15th. This kind of thing is useless against me. Nangong Aochen let out a cold snort and stepped forward with the sole of his foot. The energy in his dantian burst out, and a tyrannical pressure spread instantly. The 5th level of the Red Realm. Tyrannical coercion immediately pressed down on Bailey Hongzhuang. He didn't use all his strength when fighting Gong Shaoqing, but he wanted a crushing victory to break Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. After reaching the innate realm, when there is a certain gap between the strength of two cultivators, the coercion of the strong will generate a huge pressure to crush the opponent. Under this coercion, the weaker competitor will also be suppressed and be unable to exert their full combat power. This is the difficulty of leapfrog battles. Ordinary people cannot break through this layer of coercion, and the competitor is eclipsed. Bailey Hongzhuang's speed was also limited. The vitality in her body roared out, and the strength of the 3rd level of the Red Realm was revealed. Everyone was a little surprised when they saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had reached the 3rd level of the Red Realm at this young age. She deserves the title of genius. If Bailey Hongzhuang was the same age as Nangong Aochen, her strength would not be weaker than Nangong Aochen. You can only blame Bailey Hongzhuang for being born later. Facing the coercion of Nangong Aochen, Bailey Hongzhuang only felt that a huge boulder was pressing on her body, somewhat impacting her combat power. Nangong Aochen looked indifferent. This is the difference between the weak and the strong. There is almost no need to do anything. The weak is already at an impasse. After seeing the Nangong Aochen's arrogance and complacency, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly parted into a mocking smile. Bailey Hongzhuang's mind moved, and a touch of jade color quietly appeared on her arms, radiant and tough. The next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang slammed her right fist towards the coercive pressure. Boom! A dull sound came out, and Nangong Aochen's expression changed instantly. Crackle! There was a slight cracking sound, and then the coercion dissipated like a broken mirror. When they saw this scene, there was a touch of amazement in everyone's eyes. Nangong Aochen's coercion was broken so easily by Bailey Hongzhuang. This kind of thing is useless against me. Bailey Hongzhuang said indifferently. The strength difference between her and Nangong Aochen was only 2 ranks. This level of coercion would absolutely not suppress her. Nangong Aochen was also a little surprised that just one punch had shattered the coercion. It was clear that the strength of Bailey Hongzhuang's fist was amazing. At the same time, a touch of interest quietly appeared in Nangong Aochen's eyes. Among the younger generation of cultivators, he rarely encountered such an interesting person. Immediately after, Nangong Aochen moved, turning into a ray of yellow light sweeping towards Bailey Hongzhuang. The distance between the two of them closed instantly. Nangong Aochen turned his right palm into a fist, and without hesitation struck at Bailey Hongzhuang's neck. The huge fist was wrapped in a fierce wind and enlarged rapidly in Bailey Hongzhuang's view. But Bailey Hongzhuang didn't panic. She did not have the slightest intention of avoiding it. She coincidentally wanted to also know how strong she really is now. Just when the fist was about to reach Bailey Hongzhuang, she moved. A slim white fist greeted Nangong Ouchen fearlessly, actually wanting to go head-to-head. Seeing this scene, almost everyone already foresaw the fate of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken. Body training martial arts. This Bailey Hongzhuang is too nonchalant. Does she think that eldest brother's 2 extra levels of strength are just for show? The corners of Nangong Yuer's mouth curled in mockery, but the smile in her eyes gradually deepened. Bailey Hongzhuang's hand was broken. This was also good news. People who come from small places are always a little ignorant. They really think that their strength is great. Nangong Yujin said languidly. Boom! 2 fists, one big and one small, collided loudly under the crowd's astonished gaze. The scenario of Bailey Hongzhuang's bones being broken, that people expected, didn't materialize. Nangong Ouchen was surprised by the huge power coming from her fist. He did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang's strength to be so strong. I underestimated you, Nangong Ouchen said slowly. He originally wanted to overwhelmingly defeat Bailey Hongzhuang. But now it seems that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength would not be so easy to solve. The children of the royal family are always so arrogant. Bailey Hongzhuang was not polite at all when she spoke. Since it was already an antagonistic situation, she would not respect her opponent. Nangong Ouchen's face turned cold. A hint of sullen anger flashed in his eyes, his body moved, and he attacked like a storm. Bang bang bang. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't give in at all. Her figure waged war with Nangong Ouchen. The fierce attacks continued to erupt, and the two intertwined together like whirlwinds. The fierce energy also burst out sonic explosions. As the hits continued, Nangong Ouchen's surprise increased. Usually female practitioners are very weak in melee combat, but Bailey Hongzhuang didn't seem to be affected in any way, and her melee combat ability was very good. What he couldn't understand was that Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation base was clearly 2 levels weaker than his. So why didn't he feel Bailey Hongzhuang's weakness at all as they fought? Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang has cultivated body training martial arts? Nangong Ouchen was a little puzzled. Although body training martial arts are not uncommon, good body training martial arts are rare. Bailey Hongzhuang can even fight against 2 levels of combat power disadvantage, which shows that Bailey Hongzhuang's martial arts level is high. It seems that the reputation of first place in each academy is not without merit. He can't underestimate the enemy. Swish! The 2 figures shot apart. Bailey Hongzhuang took a few steps back, releasing the energy in her body. Nangong Ouchen's strength was, as everyone said, it not blown out of proportion. Even using the Jade body training skill, her strength was still somewhat lacking. The gap in strength between the two was not small. Under the sleeve of her robe, Bailey Hongzhuang's fist filled with red blood, and she trembled faintly. She was unavoidably injured in the last collision. However, the crowd was extremely horrified after seeing this scene. Nangong Yujin had a look of incredulity on his face. Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation level is clearly 2 levels lower than Nangong Ouchen's. How can she persist under such a storm of attacks? How strong is Nangong Ouchen? No one with weaker strength has ever been able to last against Nangong Ouchen for so long. This is too bizarre. The eyes of Xia Jiqing and the others were full of excitement. Hongzhuang is really great. Even with Bailey Hongzhuang on stage, they never had any hope, because the gap between the 2 levels was huge. Bailey Hongzhuang's performance really amazed them. Appearance by sure. Since it's already a match to the death, let's get it over with. The coldness in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes gradually deepened. She already had a certain understanding of Nangong Ouchen's strength from this initial confrontation. Although her cultivation was not as good as Nangong Ouchen's, she is not without the strength to fight. The word concede has never been in her dictionary. She will never know the final result without fighting for her life. Nangong Ouchen's handsome eyes narrowed slightly. That Bailey Hongzhuang could still say such words in this situation meant that Bailey Hongzhuang was planning to go all out. Since you are so eager to die, I will help you out. Nangong Ouchen's voice was also full of chill. He couldn't continue to let Bailey Hongzhuang go on. What he wanted was a crushing victory, so that everyone could see that the majesty of the royal family could not be trampled upon. On the other side, Baishir turned his head to look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang nod, Baishir's gaze fell on the opposite flame lion. A trace of fear flashed in the eyes of the majestic flame lion after seeing the white lion. His sturdy figure also began to tremble. Seeing this, everyone looked astonished. Why does it seem that the flame lion is afraid of that little white beast? What kind of little white beast is that? Why have I never seen one before? Everyone was puzzled. Although there are many types of beasts, the people present did not lack in experience. They are even familiar with ornamental beasts, but they had never seen a beast like Baishir. You think too much. How could the flame lion be afraid of such a small beast? Other people also disagreed. The flame lion is very rare among contract beasts. How could the contracted beast of a student from the backcountry Kanglin Academy be better than His Royal Highness? Old Huan, what kind of contract beast is this? Jian Qingqiu is not a stupid person. The concept of hierarchy among beasts is stricter than that of humans. Only when low-level beasts meet high-level beasts would there be such a reaction. In the past, they only regarded Bailey Hongzhuang's monster beast as a pet. But now it seems that this white lion is obviously not just ornamental. Huan Chuyu was also a little surprised. In fact, he had never paid attention to the white lion. This, I have never thought about either. Huan Chuyu said slowly. However, Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi obviously didn't believe Huan Chuyu, and thought that Huan Chuyu was trying to purposefully show off. Regardless of the strength of this beast, Bailey Hongzhuang will not be able to beat Nangong Ouchen. Song Hongxi did not have any positive feelings for Huan Chuyu. Yesterday, Huan Chuyu revealed Wei Hanyun's identity in front of everyone, which humiliated him. Now he only hopes that Kanglin Academy will return in defeat and come in last place. Huan Chuyu glanced at Song Hongxi indifferently. At least my students from Kanglin Academy still have the courage to fight, unlike yours that don't even have the courage to fight. Seeing Huan Chuyu's words become more and more rude, Song Hongxi also snorted coldly. You'd better pray that the good seedlings of your Kanglin Academy don't die on this competition stage. Huan Chuyu was furious, but Song Hongxi had already looked away. This old guy was going too far. However, Song Hongxi's words reminded Huan Chuyu that he must pay constant attention to the situation on the stage and not allow Bailey Hongzhuang's life to be in danger. Horror Nangong Ouchen, Bailey Hongzhuang, and Baishir started their attacks simultaneously. Bailey Hongzhuang's Yuanli surged towards her fist, and at the same time she shifted her shape into a shadow, disappearing like a ghost. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's strange shape, Nangong Ouchen's eyes also flashed with surprise. His entire focus tensed, not daring to relax anymore. Hurricane break. Bailey Hongzhuang's moved as swift as the wind, and a martial art move as fast as lightning struck Nangong Ouchen's chest. Nangong Ouchen reacted swiftly. After feeling the fierce wind, he also initiated a martial arts move. Shaking Dragon Fist. Bang! When the two fists collided, the bursts of Yuanli cancelled each other out. But the level of the Shaking Dragon Fist was stronger than the hurricane break. Therefore, in this collision, Nangong Ouchen had the upper hand. Nangong Ouchen, who was initially nervous, revealed a smile. The royal family's heritage is simply not comparable to that of ordinary people. Compared to other cultivators, it is much easier for him to acquire advanced martial arts. A satisfied smile appeared in Nangong Oui's eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang had been jumping around for so long. He should have killed her in one fell swoop. However, Bailey Hongzhuang was not overly disappointed in losing on that attack. The Yuanli in her body surged again. There was a hint of coldness in Nangong Ouchen's eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang's strength was clearly weaker than his, yet she dared to attack him first. This is simply unforgivable. Next, I'll show you how powerful the royal family is. The arrogance between Nangong Ouchen's brows intensified, and the energy in his body continued to emerge, converging on his hands. As Nangong Ouchen's hands continued to flip, a complex seal was quietly formed. At the same time, a heart-palpitating force spread from his hands. Heavenly Devil's Palm. As soon as these words emerged, a huge palm quickly formed behind Nangong Ouchen. The entire sky seemed to be suppressed by this huge palm of Yuanli, and an unspeakable pressure swept across the hearts of the crowd. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze fell on the Heavenly Devil's Palm. The same move done by Nangong Ouchen and Nangong Xiujia were completely different. The Heavenly Devil's Palm cast by Nangong Ouchen was almost twice the size of Nangong Xiujia's. This showed how much stronger Nangong Ouchen's mastery of martial arts was compared to Nangong Xiujia's. Brother has already trained the Heavenly Devil's Palm to such an extent. This is too terrifying. Nangong Yuer's face reflected awe. The Heavenly Devil's Palm she had refined was not even comparable to Nangong Xiujia. Nangong Ouchen really deserved to be called the most outstanding talent of the Qingxiao Kingdom royal family. Nangong Yujin's face was ugly. The stronger Nangong Ouchen is, the worse it is for him. This level of strength completely overshadows all the other members of the royal family. Only Nangong Oi's eyes showed a look of satisfaction. Nangong Ouchen was really a gift to Qingxiao Kingdom from the heavens. Whether it was strength, mind, or ability, they were all 1 in a million. Huan Qi winked at Lu Huayan. The power of this Heavenly Devil's Palm is extraordinary. If Bailey Hongzhuang doesn't have a strong enough martial arts counter, Bailey Hongzhuang may fall here. Obviously, this kind of competition can no longer continue. Mo Yunjue's eyes were fixed on the competition stage. His expression was a little cold, but the Yuanli in his body was already surging quietly. Obviously, he also planned to save Bailey Hongzhuang before she was in danger. How is this possible? Master, this guy's Heavenly Devil's Palm is very powerful. You have to be careful. Xiao Hei's eyes were full of worry. It could feel the power of this Heavenly Devil's Palm. If the other party was an ordinary cultivator, Master should be able to fight against someone 2 levels higher. But Nangong Ouchen's cultivation is obviously not simple. He was afraid that Nangong Ouchen also could leapfrog combat. As a result, the gap between the Master and Nangong Ouchen will be even greater. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with strong fighting intent. The final result will be unknown until the last moment. In a flash, the Yuanli in Bailey Hongzhuang's body also surged crazily. As she kept flipping her hands, an equally palpitating energy burst out. Azure One Flame Sacred Palm. Bailey Hongzhuang yelled coldly. A huge Yuanli palm also appeared in midair, blazing azure flames covering the entire palm. The temperature of the entire martial arts arena also rose slightly, and a scorching heat spread. Anyone who had seen the battle between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujia was not unfamiliar with the Azure Flame Sacred Palm. Previously, Bailey Hongzhuang defeated Nangong Xiujia with this Azure Flame Sacred Palm, but Nangong Xiujia's mastery of the Heavenly Devil's Palm could not be compared with Nangong Ouchen's at all. At this moment, it would be a bit whimsical to want to use this trick to stop the demon palm. A country bumpkin is a country bumpkin. She has only mastered a few moves, and she just doesn't have any more moves. Nangong Yuer's lips curled slightly, and she looked at Xia Jiqing and the others mockingly. They were from 2 different worlds from the time they were born. A touch of anger appeared on the faces of Xia Jiqing and the others, but there was also a bit of helplessness in their hearts. In fact, the heritage of ordinary people cannot be compared with that of the royal family. Elder Huan, can't your Kanglin Academy hand over any decent martial arts to its students? It's very difficult to conquer the world with only 1 move. Song Hongxi mocked. There was also a smile on Jian Qingqiu's face. This is the royal family's heritage. With things going the way they were, it would be impossible for Kanglin Academy to turn things around. However, Huan Chu didn't bother to pay attention to Song Hongxi at all. It's not that Kanglin Academy doesn't have martial arts to teach students. It's just that Bailey Hongzhuang came to Kanglin Academy only a little while ago. That's all. With the power of your Azure Flame Sacred Palm, you are doomed to fail. Nangong Ouchen's eyes showed a trace of contempt, and he was able to judge the outcome before the 2 attacks collided, because the gap between the 2 really is too large. However, the corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly hooked up in a wicked and enchanting arc. That's not necessarily true. Suddenly, everyone saw Bailey Hongzhuang's hands flipping again, and her face turned slightly pale. Just when everyone didn't understand what Bailey Hongzhuang was doing, Bailey Hongzhuang's hands suddenly folded together, and the azure palm suspended in midair suddenly shrunk a bit. Seeing this, Nangong Aochen's pupils shrank, and a look of disbelief appeared on that serious cold face. The scorching temperature increased as the azure palm shrank, and the entire palm became more dazzling, even completely blocking the sun's brilliance. How is this possible? Nangong Aochen asked in astonishment. TL/N1 actually is a blue-green color. Some say cyan, some say blue, some say green. I'm making it azure for convenience. An amazing scene. It is not the most difficult thing to enlarge martial arts, but it is extremely difficult to shrink it. Once the martial skill is reduced in size, the energy of the martial skill is more condensed, and the power of the martial skill is also greatly enhanced. It's just that the degree of difficulty is indescribable. If his perception was correct, this azure flame sacred palm should be an early Xian 1 rank martial skill, and it would be too difficult to shrink it. He didn't understand how Bailey Hongzhuang actually did it. Not only Nangong Aochen, but also the cultivators who were watching were in shock. This technique is really amazing. Xia Jiqing and the others were stunned. It seems that what they learned before was not Hongzhuang's true strength. No wonder Hongzhuang was only slightly injured while Nangong Xiujia was injured like that. If Hongzhuang had used this trick at the beginning, Nangong Xiujia would have had no choice but to die. Apparently, there were quite a few people who figured this out. Gradually, many people changed their opinions about Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang was merciful to Nangong Xiujia previously, but now Nangong Aochen wants to kill Bailey Hongzhuang. Comparing the two, everyone can't help but feel that the royal family is too narrow-minded, but they dare not say this. How did you do it? Nangong Aochen couldn't help but ask out loud. If this technique was used in battle, the explosive combat power would be improved by more than a little. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled softly, and a hint of mockery appeared in her eyes, which were as quiet as a deep pool. Why should I tell you? Nangong Aochen was probably accustomed to being revered. Even asked this question was asked with a condescending tone. Others care about the identity of His Highness the Crown Prince, but she doesn't care at all. Hearing this, Nangong Aochen's expression changed a bit. At this moment, he didn't want to kill Bailey Hongzhuang anymore. This woman had mastered such a magical technique. If she were kidnapped by the royal family, so that he could learn the technique from her, it would be a great help to him. It's just that it's a pity that the emperor's order is hard to refuse. As Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochen were confronting each other, Baisha rushed towards the flame lion like lightning. It's unforgivable that this bullshit lion is showing off in front of everyone, and he, the majestic beast king, is ridiculed by everyone as a useless little one. The flame lion has always been pampered by the royal family. Although it has an unspeakable fear of the white lion in its bones, it has followed its arrogant master for a long time, and it really regards itself as a hero. It went to kill the white lion also. When everyone saw the white lion attacking the much stronger flame lion, they all felt it was ridiculous. This little guy was just as helpless as its owner. However, in the next moment, an amazing spectacle occurred. Roar! Baisha roared, and the attitude of the flame lion changed slightly. The moment the two monster beasts pounced, Baisha's movements were as fast as lightning, and it leaped to bite the flame lion's throat with the speed of a violent storm. If you dare to challenge the king of beasts, prepare to pay the price. Two figures, one red and one white, crossed and blood sprayed in midair. When everyone could see clearly, the flame lion had already fallen to the ground whining. Where was its previous majesty? TL/N1 The Xian realm is the realm before the innate realm, which Bailey is currently in. See my list here for the current rankings. http://stall translations. com/cultivation levels Bewitching Prince spoils his wife / Chapter 857. Bewitching Prince spoils his wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Beast, how dare you? The audience was silent. Everyone stared dumbfounded at this scene. Isn't this too unbelievable? The majestic and prestigious flame lion was bitten on the throat by the little white beast in a face-to-face fight? What species is this little white beast? Haha, what kind of lame flame lion is this? Everyone praises this level of combat power. It's laughable, right? Xia Jiqing couldn't help laughing. Everyone praised the flame lion earlier. Nangong Aochen also regarded the flame lion as a treasure. Yet it was defeated so easily. The royal family spent so much money and effort to cultivate such a useless beast? However, when Xia Jiqing chuckled, Gong Xiaoqing and the others did not smile, and their eyes fell on Bai Shi. It seems that they had underestimated Bai Shi. I knew that it was absolutely impossible for Hongzhuang's contracted beast to be an ornamental beast. Cui Haoyan sighed, still feeling unspeakably shocked. When they first found out that Bailey Hongzhuang had contracted such a beast, they felt it was unbelievable. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang had never been an ostentatious person. This kind of ornamental beast is the type that some officials who are not strong in combat like to keep in captivity. But as a cultivator, this kind of beast is a hindrance. All the previous confusion was immediately cleared up after seeing Bai Shi make a move. This white lion is simply pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger one. The contract beast is like its master. The fighting power of this white lion is as perverted as its owner. Bai Junyu shook his head speechlessly. Fortunately, he and Bailey Hongzhuang were teammates. Otherwise, it would be terrible to offend such an opponent. Gong Xiaoqing took a deep breath and calmed down the shock in his heart. The flame lion has the strength of 5th level of the Red Realm, which proves that the cute little beast that had always been inconspicuous also has at least the strength of 5th level of the Red Realm. Bailey Hongzhuang is really extraordinary. Nangong Yue and the others were stupefied. They knew how strong the flame lion was. A true 5th level Red Realm cultivator, even stronger than ordinary 5th level Red Realm cultivators. However, after this one face-to-face charge, the flame lion was half dead. What kind of contract beast did Bailey Hongzhuang have? After Nangong Aochen saw the flame lion lying on the ground, his face instantly turned livid. He had contracted the flame lion when he was very young, and the flame lion had grown up with him. In his heart, the flame lion occupied a very important place, and he even regarded the flame lion as a relative. Bai Shi chewed on the flame lion's flesh and swallowed it in one gulp, enjoying everyone's attention. Now, everyone should know the ability of Bai Shi. The next moment, Bai Shi leapt towards the flame lion again. The meat of the flame lion was not bad. Whoa! When the flame lion saw Bai Shi attacking again, there was a trace of panic in its eyes. It was no match for the white lion at all. Seeing the actions of the white lion, Nangong Aochen was about to burst into tears. You beast, how dare you! However, Bai Shi ignored Nangong Aochen's words, leapt up, opened its mouth wide to reveal sharp teeth, and bit the neck of the flame lion again. Nangong Aochen's eyes flashed wisps of blood. The heavenly devil's palm immediately attacked Bai Shi. Your opponent is me. However, just when Nangong Aochen was about to attack Bai Shi, Bailey Hongzhuang had already blocked Nangong Aochen. Your opponent is me. Compared to Nangong Aochen's face full of anger, Bailey Hongzhuang looked very indifferent. For such snobs, they need to learn that there is always someone more talented than oneself. Go to hell. Nangong Aochen could no longer control his emotions, and he used the heavenly devil's palm to attack Bailey Hongzhuang without hesitation. At the same time, Bailey Hongzhuang's mind moved the azure flame sacred palm forward to meet it. Just after the two attacks collided, Bai Shi had successfully bitten through the flame lion's neck. He has no difficulty in beheading whomever he wants. Nangong Oi's eyes were seething with anger, but as the emperor of Qingxiao Kingdom he couldn't show it. This Bailey Hongzhuang must die. Boom! The two attacks collided abruptly to the horrified eyes of the crowd. At the moment of impact, a terrifying thunderous sound like 9 days of thunder erupted. Ripples of primordial force visible to the naked eye spread out, covering the sky and the sun, darkening the entire sky. At the moment these two attacks erupted, protective shields around the arena instantly activated, and a layer of light golden protective shields covered the entire arena to prevent energy leakage from affecting the cultivators in the stands. The Yuanli storm swept across the protective cover, but no one could see the situation inside the protective shields, and no one knew what the result was. Outside the protective cover, Baishir looked inside the protective shielding with the flame lion's head in its mouth. As the collision erupted, the master had asked it leave the arena. After all, it would only be affected if it stayed inside with such energy. Although the scope of this martial arts arena is not small, it was still somewhat dwarfed by the energy collision between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochen. However, when everyone saw Baishir holding head of the flame lion, they all felt ridiculed. And the person who had said that it would be good enough if the white lion could survive a single move against the flame lion kept silent, just hoping that everyone would not remember what he had said. Nangong Oi's hands were pressed firmly on his knees, his calm face reflecting the majesty of the emperor. But everyone knew that Nangong Oi was in a bad mood. Huan Shuyu and the other people's eyes were glued to the competition arena. The battle was so explosive that they couldn't even make a judgment. A look of worry appeared in everyone's eyes, and no one knew whose combat power was stronger in this collision. Logically speaking, Nangong Aochen had the upper hand, but Bailey Hongzhuang's sudden compression of the azure flame sacred palm surprised everyone. So it was impossible to judge the power of the compressed azure flame sacred palm. Hongzhuang should be okay, right? Xia Jiqing clasped her hands together, her eyes fixed on the competition platform. The scale of energy was a bit frightening. If she was in such an energy storm, it would be very difficult to survive. I believe Hongzhuang will be fine, Zhang Yinfeng said in a solemnly. She believed in Hongzhuang's strength. Although Nangong Aochen's strength was very strong, as far as Bailey Hongzhuang's combat effectiveness was concerned, even if she lost the battle, it would not be life-threatening. Everyone was silent. They could only wait for the energy storm to dissipate to find out the results. Endless consequences after the energy storm dissipated, the protective shields gradually receded, and the situation in the competition arena was revealed to everyone. It's just that when everyone saw the situation in the competition arena, they couldn't help but gasp. The competition arena that was built with extremely hard stone had a huge hole in it. The area surrounding the hole was also covered with dense cracks, showing the huge destructive power caused by these two attacks. Nangong Aochen's light yellow clothing was stained with blood, and the luxurious brocade robe was also slightly torn. The jade crown was tilted slightly, and his hair was a little messy and disordered. His hands trembled slightly, and the expression on his face was extremely ugly. When the people of Qingxiao Kingdom saw Nangong Aochen's appearance, their faces were incredulous. They had never seen Nangong Aochen in such a wretched state. Usually, in normal battles, Nangong Aochen crushed his opponent with overwhelming strength. But now, Nangong Aochen has reached this state at the hands of a cultivator, who is 2 levels weaker, which is too shocking. Everyone turned their gazes towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's condition was also very bad. Blood flowers bloomed on her white dress, and a bloody smell quietly permeated the air. 3,000 black hairs uncoiled and came loose. Her pretty face was a little pale, and Hongzhuang's loose black hair flowed down, seemingly creating a sense of wonder and poignancy. Bailey Hongzhuang's left rib seeped blood slowly, but her expression did not change at all. Nangong Aochen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, and his mood shifted. Previously, he only knew that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength was good, but he never really regarded Bailey Hongzhuang as an opponent. But at this moment he understood Bailey Hongzhuang's true strength, and felt how terrifying she was. She made him fall into this condition with her cultivation at the 3rd level of the Red Realm. If Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation base reached the 5th level of the Red Realm, he was afraid that the one who would be crushed would be him. Thinking of this, the killing intent in Nangong Aochen's heart grew stronger. As a child of the royal family, he clearly understood how terrifying an opponent like Bailey Hongzhuang would be when she grew up. If she were not an opponent, it would have been fine. But since Bailey Hongzhuang was already at war with him, then he absolutely could not let Bailey Hongzhuang walk off the competition arena alive today. Otherwise, there will be endless consequences. Now, everyone held their breath, and no longer dared to mock Bailey Hongzhuang again. Because with her actions, Bailey Hongzhuang had already demonstrated her ability to be able to achieve such a result against Nangong Aochen in a leapfrog battle. This is a well-deserved combat genius. Gong Shaoqing, and the others were shocked that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength had reached this level. Jian Qingxiu and Song Hongxi looked at each other. They were flabbergasted by the appearance of a pervert like Bailey Hongzhuang at Kanglin Academy. How could this Bailey Hongzhuang have such terrifying achievements in every area at such a young age? Nangong Aochen's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. I admit, your strength is very strong, but your cultivation base is your flaw. I may not be your opponent over time, but at least for now, you still can't beat me. Nangong Aochen's expression was ferocious. He wanted to totally strangle Bailey Hongzhuang. If you have the ability, bring it on. When Nangong Aochen acknowledged Bailey Hongzhuang's strength, proving her excellence, the amazement in the crowd's eyes grew. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Nangong Aochen coldly. This guy's strength was indeed not weak. Talk is cheap. Nangong Aochen sneered. You have been seriously injured, cannot be my opponent. Bailey Hongzhuang's ribs were broken, and if she continued to fight she couldn't fight, and his level. But Bailey Hongzhuang didn't want to admit it. If you have the ability, bring it on. As Bailey Hongzhuang's words fell, countless shocked gazes condensed on her body. In these circumstances, Bailey Hongzhuang actually wants to continue fighting? If she isn't careful, Bailey Hongzhuang will leave her life on the stage. There was a hint of ridicule in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Nangong Aochen thought he had the upper hand, but his internal organs should be burning uncomfortably. Xia Jiqing couldn't help but look at Lu Huayan. Instructor Lu, can Hongzhuang continue to fight in this condition? Lu Huayan's expression was also a little complicated, but according to the rules of this final, as long as the students in the competition don't admit defeat, they can't stop this competition. I believe that Bailey Hongzhuang knows what she's doing. Lu Huayan said slowly. Xia Jiqing also fell silent. She was worried about Bailey Hongzhuang's well-being, but she also knew that the probability of Bailey Hongzhuang admitting defeat was very small. Although Nangong Aochen is usually regarded as a righteous person, when the dignity of the royal family is challenged, this guy does not retain his righteousness. In her opinion, this group of people from Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family all fully deserve to be called villains. Baisher dropped the flame lion's head and immediately stepped into the arena. The flame lion's head rolled to the bottom of the stands where Nangong Oi was seated. Although this was an unintentional action by Baisher, in the eyes of everyone, this made a mockery of Nangong Oi. Nangong Oi's gaze rested on the flame lion's head for a moment. His expression did not change, but in a blink the members of the royal family around him stood up. The little white beast has already left the arena, which proves that it is no longer qualified to continue fighting. To be a fair competition, the little white beast can no longer compete. Following this comment from the royal family members, the crowd looked at each other in dismay. Usually, this rule only applies to cultivators, and is not binding for contracted beasts. In many cases, contracted beasts will continue to fight. However, one is not allowed to say that it is unreasonable for the royal family to bring out this rule at this moment. The royal family of the Qingxiao Kingdom is too shameless. There was a trace of anger on Bai Junyu's face. Originally, as long as Baisher competed, given Baisher's strength, the chance of winning this competition was almost guaranteed. Who would have thought that the royal family would come up with such a rule? This is really the ultimate in shamelessness. I wondered why Lingyin Academy won first place in the past few academy exchange competitions. It turns out that it relies on being shameless. Zhang Yunfeng's voice was cold. Originally, she still had some respect for Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family, but now it seems they are simply shameless people in luxurious clothes. Too much deception. The people of Qingxiao Kingdom also fell silent at that moment. Although they knew that Qingxiao Kingdom's actions were a bit excessive, because the emperor was here, they didn't dare say anything unless they wanted to lose their lives. Huan Chuyu frowned slightly and said, "The contracted beasts battle has never been restricted by location. This type of argument is a little unreasonable. Usually, when there are contracted beasts participating in the competition, because the cultivator's battle encompasses quite a wide range, in order to affect the cultivators as little as possible, the battle of beasts appearing outside the competition arena is a common occurrence." After Jian Qingxiu noticed the expressions from the royal family members, He understood that no matter what, Nangong Aochan must win this battle. As the crown prince of Qingxiao Kingdom, Nangong Aochan's identity is different from ordinary cultivators. Today he must win no matter what. Because he represents the position of the crown prince of Qingxiao Kingdom. The reason why Nangong Oui let Nangong Aochan compete this time is to let everyone know the strength of Nangong Aochan. If Nangong Aochan fails today, it will do great damage to his reputation. Lingyin Academy is attached to the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom, so Nangong Oui's orders naturally cannot be disobeyed. Jian Qingqiu quickly recovered his dignified expression. Elder Huan, the competition between cultivators is limited to the martial arts arena. Once a cultivator falls outside the martial arts arena, it will be ruled a loss. This is naturally the same for contracted beasts. Jian Qingqiu said slowly, but his gaze was directed at Song Hongxi. Song Hongxi immediately understood, nodded and said, "That's right, what Principal Jian said is reasonable." Huan Qiu's face darkened instantly. These two old guys are too shameless. There has never been such a rule in previous academy exchange meetings. You guys are too deceitful. Huan Qiu stood up. His normally mellow and benevolent face was full of indignant anger. Ever since he came to Lingyin Academy, Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi's dealings have become unbearable. And now Bailey Hongzhuang has fought so hard just for the honor of Kanglin Academy. He had put up with the previous incident, but this matter was related to Bailey Hongzhuang, so he could no longer do nothing. When Huan Qiu stood up, everyone in the stands was in an uproar. As the vice principal of Kanglin Academy, he had already shown that this competition is unfair, and everyone looked at Nangong Oui in unison. They didn't know how the emperor felt about this. When Xia Jiqing and the others saw Huan Qiu's protest, they were also excited. At least, it was proof that the vice principal was on the side of his students. Neither Jian Qingqiu nor Song Hongxi thought that Huan Qiu would suddenly break with them. According to reason, Huan Qiu could only bear this anger in such a situation. So what happened to Huan Qiu? Huan Qiu's eyes burned with anger. After seeing the students of the academy suffer all kinds of blows, with one being seriously injured for this so-called academy exchange meeting, he suddenly could not understand what he had been obsessed with all these years. Kanglin Academy existed to train students, and the purpose of the academy exchange competition was just to motivate students' cultivation at the beginning. He didn't know when the academy exchange competition started becoming a battle of interests, sacrificing students only for their TL/N. The academy's honor, what's the point of that? Chapter 862. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort. A complete break. Instead of participating in this kind of academy exchange competition, just for the benefits, it would be better to just give up. Kanglin Academy can exist on its own. What does it matter if there is no comparison? Why should they care so much if they are not affiliated with Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy? In that instant, Huan Qiu figured this all out. Everything was for the students, and he would not tolerate these little tricks of Lingyin Academy any longer. Elder Huan, what are you doing? This is an original rule of the academy exchange competition. Jian Qingqiu was a little anxious. He couldn't understand what Huan Qiu was doing in front of all these people. What rules? It seems as long as the rules are beneficial to Lingyin Academy, then they are the rules. Huan Qiu's voice was cold. Kanglin Academy had tolerated it again, and again only for Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy to want more. He would no longer be tolerant. As Huan Qiu's words fell, everyone's expressions changed. The vice principal of Kanglin Academy was really throwing caution to the wind. The vice principal is so domineering. Xia Jiqing's eyes shone with excitement. No matter what the outcome of this academy exchange meeting is, the vice principal is her idol. It was really rare to see a mentor who is not afraid of power, and instead focuses on the interests of the students. A look of excitement flashed across the faces of Bai Junyu and the others. This feeling, it's crazy. However, they feel hot-blooded and impulsive with the vice principal saying this. So what are they afraid of? Elder Huan, what's wrong with you? There are so many people watching now. Jian Qingqiu's complexion changed completely. Although he had long disliked Kanglin Academy, and they had always been at odds with each other. At least on the surface they had never revealed it. However, now that Huan Chuyu is so disrespectful towards him, it is obvious that he intends to completely embarrass him. Huan Chuyu's eyes were cold, and his attitude was resolute. What I've said stands. Jian Qingqiu's face became ugly. He didn't expect that the older Huan Chuyu gets, the more insensitive he becomes, openly provoking the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom. This was asking for trouble. Nangong Oi's eyes also changed a bit, coldly looking at Huan Chuyu. In the next moment, members of the royal family quietly stood up behind Huan Chuyu. It was obvious that if Huan Chuyu dared to say a word of dissatisfaction about the battle, the royal family would use coercive means to deal with Huan Chuyu. At the same time, Xia Jiqing and the others were also surrounded by members of the royal family. This was obviously holding them hostage. All of a sudden, everyone's expressions changed. This was a blatant threat from the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom. However, they didn't dare say anything. They didn't expect that the royal family would even use this method to guarantee Nangong Aochen's win. At that moment, even the expressions of the cultivators of Beihai Academy changed. The royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom is really terrifying. If they are not careful, they might lose their lives. After all, this is the Qingxiao Kingdom's domain. Huan Chuyu's face changed suddenly. He wanted to say something else, but after seeing Xia Jiqing and others being surrounded, he couldn't speak anymore. This is the imperial city of the Qingxiao Kingdom, and if the royal family takes action, it will be impossible for them to leave the Qingxiao Kingdom. Principal Jian, you really have a good strategy. Huan Chuyu's voice was full of restraint and resentment. When the Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family adopted such a tactic, Kanglin Academy's relationship with Lingyin Academy was severed completely. Shameless. After Jian Qingqiu heard Huan Chuyu's words, his face changed a little. This scene was also not within his expectations. However, the royal family had already made a move, so he couldn't say anything more. Song Hongxi's eyes fell on the royal family, and there was a flash of unease in his eyes. The royal family's attitude was a bit too extreme. Although he had always hoped to rely on the power of the royal family to spread the reputation of Kanglin Academy and strengthen their reputation, he never thought that the royal family's attitude would be so harsh. The royal family of the Qingxiao Kingdom is too despicable. Xia Jiqing looked at the scene in front of her in disbelief. She never thought that during this academy exchange competition the royal guards would be used. Wasn't this using the Kanglin Academy students as leverage to threaten Hongzhuang? Thinking of this, the anger in Xia Jiqing's eyes disappeared and was replaced with shock and resentment. Now that Hongzhuang is on the high platform, could it be that the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom wants Bailey Hongzhuang to die? No, this absolutely cannot happen. Xia Jiqing's face was full of panic. How could Bailey Hongzhuang be allowed to bear the pressure for all of them? The faces of Gong Shaoqing and the others also changed. The royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom is too heartless. How can they bear this? Could it be that the royal family of the Qingxiao Kingdom intends to hide the truth? Gong Shaoqing's eyes were burning with anger. This was total blackmail. In a flash, the atmosphere of the entire royal arena changed. This is the means of the royal family of a great country. Wanting to challenge the dignity of the Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family here is simply impossible. It's just a few students from Kanglin Academy. As long as the royal family wants it, they can completely obliterate them, and at the same time suppress the news. At this moment, everyone sympathized with the cultivators of Kanglin Academy. Sometimes, it is a mistake to be too outstanding. A small wave of fluctuation swept through Mo Yunjue's eyes, and at the same time, his gaze quietly looked at a man not far away. After noticing Mo Yunjue's gaze, the man immediately understood, and quietly left the royal arena, unnoticed. Nangong Oi had ordered the sealing off of the entire royal arena when the royal guards held Huan Chuyu and others hostage, but this type of blockade was obviously not a problem for this person. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the series of changes around her, and an icy look appeared in her eyes. The royal family of the Qingxiao Kingdom is really shameless. Bailey Hongzhuang sneered, but her mind was racing. She has now become an intolerable presence for the royal family of the Qingxiao Kingdom. If she puts up a fight, the entire Kanglan Academy will be under the control of the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom. Nangong Oi wanted to use this method to force her to submit, but she would not fall for such a trap. She understood the methods of the royal family very well. Even if she died in this competition arena today, Nangong Oi would not let the people of Kanglan Academy leave. Bailey Hongzhuang can conclude that the result will be that everyone will die here. No one will be able to return to Kanglan Academy alive. That is what is so disgusting about the royal family. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes fell on Nangong Aochen. Now there is only one way left, holding Nangong Aochen hostage. With Nangong Aochen's status in Qingxiao Kingdom, as long as she holds Nangong Aochen hostage, they may have the possibility of leaving. Chapter 864. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Hongzhuang, good job. This hateful royal family. I must end this Qingxiao Kingdom royal family afterwards. Xiao He was so angry that he couldn't control himself. The royal family of the Qingxiao Kingdom was able to be shameless to this extent, not hesitating to use such a method to persecute a student. There was no dignity won in this royal family. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't lose her composure because of this. The situation can only be resolved if she calms down. Xiao He, Xiao Bai, I will pretend to fight later, but in my condition it will be difficult to subdue Nangong Aochen. You two must remember to create a storm. We will hold Nangong Aochen hostage as quickly as possible. Listening to this, Xiao He and Xiao Bai nodded repeatedly. They understood the seriousness of the current situation. They must hit it with one blow. Otherwise their situation could become extremely dangerous. With their strength, it shouldn't be difficult to take their master away. But if they put the entire Kanglan Academy team in danger, they feared their master would blame herself. Therefore, they cannot let their master feel such sorrow. After Nangong Aochen heard the sarcasm from Bailey Hongzhuang, his face revealed some ugliness. In fact, he originally wanted to end his battle with Bailey Hongzhuang in a devastating manner. Only he didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang's combat effectiveness to be so strong that he even suffered serious injuries. This was a disgrace. The royal family simply could not tolerate such a failure, so the royal father took action. Nangong Aochen quickly recovered from his previous frustration. No matter what, history is written by the winner. Bailey Hongzhuang and others are just a stepping stone for him. He absolutely would not care. When you dare to insult the dignity of the royal family, you should be prepared to bear the consequences. Nangong Aochen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with an icy expression, a mere academy cultivator. Compared to the royal family, her power is too weak. Ordinary people cannot afford to offend members of the royal family. But unfortunately Bailey Hongzhuang understood this too late. He hoped she will not make the same mistake when she reincarnates in her next life. Hearing Nangong Aochen's words, the mockery in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes intensified. Isn't it just a royal family? You really think you're so great? Just based on your appearance, I am sure that the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom will be destroyed sooner or later. With Bailey Hongzhuang's words, the crowd gasped in a cold breath of air. This Bailey Hongzhuang really has a death wish. Bailey Hongzhuang dares to say such things. Isn't this suicide? However, right after Bailey Hongzhuang said this, there was a burst of applause. Everyone looked at the source of the sound and saw that all the students of Kanglan Academy, including Huan Chuyu, were applauding. Xia Jiqing and the others had determined expressions on their faces. Since they began embarking on the path of the cultivator, they were prepared to lose their lives. The strength of Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family has exceeded their expectations, but they are not cowards, and they will not let Bailey Hongzhuang risk everything alone. People will inevitably die, either for a serious matter, or for something unimportant. They can already guess the end result. So in that case, why not be bold? They will die anyway. So they will naturally not make it easy for the Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family. Hongzhuang, great job, Xia Jiqing said with a smile. Chapter 865. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort, to hell with everything. What a shitty royal family and shitty prince, let them go to hell. Bai Junyu shouted. Cui Haoyan had an expression that showed he had nothing to lose. His name one was originally saved by Bailey Hongzhuang. Being able to live so much longer is already enough. The mood of the crowd also gradually changed when they saw the cultivators of Kanglin Academy so united. It must be said that the response of the Kanglin Academy students is really contagious. Even they feel that the royal family has gone too far. Xiao Lanmei's eyes swept over everyone in Kanglin Academy. Perhaps the previous events did not show the extent of the cohesiveness of Kanglin Academy. However, when this crisis broke out, this was completely revealed. He believed that if this scenario occurred in Beihai Academy, the students of Beihai Academy would definitely let Bailey Hongzhuang die in exchange for the possibility of survival. This is the gap between the students of the two academies. After seeing the attitude of Xia Jiqing and the others, a faint smile appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. It is precisely because of this group of companions that she must fight as hard as she could. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes fell on Nangong Aochen. As you said, Bai sure cannot participate in the battle. Let's continue our competition. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's indomitable look, a ripple appeared in Nangong Aochen's eyes. But the White Lion's inability to participate in the battle was exactly what he wanted. With his current strength, he can still deal with Bailey Hongzhuang. But against the Red Realm 5th level White Lion, he cannot do anything. I admire your courage, let's start, Nangong Aochen said with a faint smile. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed slightly, and her figure flew directly towards Nangong Aochen. The yuan energy in her body surged out, and her martial arts skills immediately became unspeakable. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded as Xiao He and Xiao Bai cooperated seamlessly to create the explosion. This kind of thing was very simple for the two of them, who feared the world would not be chaotic too. The crowd saw the smoke-filled sky, and did not understand what happened in that short period of time. It stands to reason that in such a short period of time, even if Bailey Hongzhuang played her best, it would not be possible to cause such fluctuations immediately. What's going on here? Bailey Hongzhuang still has such strength? The scene just now happened too fast that I don't know what happened. No matter what Bailey Hongzhuang does, it's useless. The people of Kanglin Academy will definitely die. The crowd was no longer worried about the final result, because this ending was already predetermined. Only Mo Yunjue, who was in the stands, saw Bailey Hongzhuang's actions, and a look of appreciation flashed in his eyes. The situation erupted too quickly. Even he hadn't clearly seen how Bailey Hongzhuang caused this fluctuation. However, he understood that Bailey Hongzhuang had only one purpose for causing such fluctuations: to hold Nangong Aochen hostage. This was the only way out of the current situation. Only by holding Nangong Aochen hostage could there be a glimmer of life. This woman, even in such a dangerous situation, remained indifferent even when facing humiliation, which is really an amazing psychological quality. Nangong Aochen only felt the smoke and dust blocking his vision. When he reacted, he felt a cold touch on his neck. Hostage Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang, you are only seeking your own death by doing this. Nangong Aochen forcibly suppressed the horror in his heart. He couldn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang still had such power. If Bailey Hongzhuang had exploded with such power before, he would not have been Bailey Hongzhuang's opponent at all. I, Bailey Hongzhuang, have never been in the business of losing. If I am going to die, I must take someone with me. Burying a crown prince with me should be considered good. Bailey Hongzhuang's voice was cold, and a pill appeared in her hands. She immediately stuffed it into Nangong Aochen's mouth. Gudong. One Nangong Aochen, who was being held hostage, couldn't resist at all. Before he realized it, he had already swallowed the pill. What did you do to me? A look of panic flashed across Nangong Aochen's face. Knowing Bailey Hongzhuang's identity as an alchemist, he was sure that what Bailey Hongzhuang had given him was definitely not a good thing. When you decided to threaten me with the lives of my teammates, you should have also been prepared to bear my wrath. I, Bailey Hongzhuang, have always persevered and will retaliate. As long as I don't die today, the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom will definitely be destroyed by my hands. Bailey Hongzhuang's voice was full of unconcealable arrogance and determination. The actions of Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family, restraining Xia Jiqing and the others, had touched her bottom line. She couldn't bear it at all. Nangong Aochen's heart turned cold for no reason. Logically speaking, with Bailey Hongzhuang's strength alone, it would be impossible to have any influence on Qingxiao Kingdom's huge royal family. However, he had a hunch that Bailey Hongzhuang really had such power. After smoke and dust dissipated slowly, everyone could clearly see the situation on the competition arena. It's just that when everyone saw the situation, their eyes couldn't help but change a few times. Bailey Hongzhuang actually took Nangong Aochen hostage? How is this possible? Bailey Hongzhuang is already seriously injured. She should not be the match of His Highness the Crown Prince. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang wants to use this method to free the people of Kanglin Academy the Royal Guard's control? When the crowd saw Bailey Hongzhuang's move, they had a feeling of admiration for Bailey Hongzhuang. Never giving up even after knowing that the situation was hopeless. Perhaps she didn't fight so desperately for herself. After seeing Bailey Hongzhuang holding Nangong Aochen hostage, Xia Jiqing and the others were amazed. It was hard for them to imagine how Bailey Hongzhuang could do this after being seriously injured. At this moment Bailey Hongzhuang was a well-deserved hero in their hearts. Fuck it, I'm going to fight. Cui Haoyan's eyes were reddened. Bailey Hongzhuang made it this far. They couldn't let her down. The Yuanlian Gong Shaoqing and the others surged in an instant. Maybe their final outcome cannot be changed, but it would be good to cause some damage to the royal family. How is this possible? Nangong Yuer looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in disbelief. The clothes at Bailey Hongzhuang's ribs were now completely stained red with blood, which showed how serious Bailey Hongzhuang's injury was. However, under such circumstances, Bailey Hongzhuang was able to hold Nangong Aochen hostage, which was really unexpected. It was hard for her to imagine how Bailey Hongzhuang did it. Nangong Yujin also fell into silence, but there was some excitement in his eyes. If Nangong Aochen died. TL/in one sound effect, like splash. In this case I think swallow. I'll give you 10 seconds. After seeing this scene, Nangong Oi's usually calm face changed slightly. Jian Qingqiu's expression became extremely ugly. The final of this year's Academy Exchange competition had completely exceeded the scope of his control. He understands the methods of the royal family. The royal family wants to wipe out the Kanglin Academy's team this time. But this is not what he wanted to do. And now that Bailey Hongzhuang has taken Nangong Aochen hostage, the situation has become even more intractable. And he now seems to have lost the right to speak up. And everything is beyond his control. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze fell on Nangong Oi, and everyone gasped once more. Old man, if you want the life of your successor, let them go. Old man? Bailey Hongzhuang actually called Nangong Oi old man? This is really asking to die. Nangong Oi looked at Bailey Hongzhuang indifferently, and the words he said were also full of infinite majesty. Release the prince immediately, otherwise, the students of Kanglin Academy will perish one by one because of your actions. Nangong Oi's eyes rippled with certainty. As soon as Bailey Hongzhuang said the first sentence, he already knew her weakness. If Bailey Hongzhuang had taken Nangong Oi hostage for her own escape, he might have had any choice. However, if Bailey Hongzhuang wanted to protect the safety of everyone in Kanglin Academy, he had more leverage in his hands. A student is a student, and they are always too inexperienced. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled softly, and in the next second, the arc of her lips became slightly colder. A dazzling and frightening brilliance bloomed in her pitch-black phoenix eyes. I'm not discussing with you, I'm ordering you. Old guys like Nangong Oi just don't know when to stop. They think they are invincible when they have leverage. However, she is not the kind of idiot Nangong Oi had seen before. I will give you some time to think about it. I will break a tendon in Nangong Aochen's hand every second. You have 10 seconds. She hasn't done this kind of thing in a long time. However, both Nangong Aochen and Nangong Oi made her feel sick from the bottom of her heart. She wanted these selfish guys to understand the price they have to pay. As a doctor, she has hundreds of ways to torture Nangong Aochen. After Bailey Hongzhuang's voice fell, everyone was stunned. They didn't realize that Bailey Hongzhuang was such a ruthless woman. They couldn't associate such cruel words with the exquisite and perfect person in front of them. However, The trace of seriousness reflected in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyebrows and eyes clearly told everyone that she was not joking. Nangong Oi's face was gloomy. If you dare to do this, I will kill the practitioners of Kanglin Academy. Ah! Just after Nangong Oi finished speaking, Nangong Ouchin let out a heartbreaking scream. Not for any other reason than because Bailey Hongzhuang had already broken one of his tendons. Bailey Hongzhuang's move was undoubtedly a slap in the face of Nangong Oi. All these threats were useless against her, because she will make Nangong Oi regret it even more. Ruthless Bailey Hongzhuang. Nangong Ouchin endured the severe pain from his hands and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in horror. He couldn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang actually dared to do this. Doesn't she know that all the control is now in the hands of the royal family? All of Bailey Hongzhuang's actions now are just going to make her end even more miserable. Everyone was shocked by Bailey Hongzhuang's determination and ruthlessness. They had never seen a student who could be so ruthless, which made people panic. Only Mo Yunju's eyes flashed with excitement. Only such a woman is suitable for him. Such courage and such means are really amazing. Even if he wanted to help Bailey Hongzhuang and her team leave here safely, it would not be easy. But as long as his people came, all these problems would be solved. Before that, however, he also wanted to know what Bailey Hongzhuang planned to do. And Bailey Hongzhuang's current performance was enough to amaze him. 9. Ah! Another scream rang out as Bailey Hongzhuang mercilessly cut another tendon of Nangong Ouchin's hand. However, despite Nangong Ouchin's immense pain, Bailey Hongzhuang's expression did not change at all. It was as if this was just a normal thing for her. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Nangong Oi with a light smile. It seems that you don't care much about this prince. After sweeping her gaze across Nangong Oi and Nangong Ouchin, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. That's right. Your son is not only Nangong Ouchin. If he dies, it's not a big deal to train another one. How about this? With Bailey Hongzhuang chuckling, all the tendons in Nangong Ouchin's right hand were severed by her. As a doctor, she understands all of these things very well, and she can easily break all the tendons in Nangong Ouchin's hands. For an old man like Nangong Oi, one who claims to be smart, she can only use such tactics to win this game. Ah! Under such severe pain, Nangong Ouchin's whole body convulsed. Now Bailey Hongzhuang is like a devil in his eyes. He thinks that he is already very ruthless, but compared to Bailey Hongzhuang, he still feels that there is a big gap between them. Not only Nangong Ouchin, but everyone looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in amazement. They couldn't believe that the young Bailey Hongzhuang could do such a thing. It's really amazing. Xia Jiqing and the others were also completely stunned. This whole time, they only thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was tolerant and easy to get along with. But they had never seen such a Bailey Hongzhuang. Perhaps such ruthlessness would chill others, but they were very touched. The reason why Bailey Hongzhuang did this was entirely on their behalf. Because they did not have enough strength, otherwise, Bailey Hongzhuang would not have fallen into such a situation. At this moment, Nangong Oi could no longer remain calm. He has quite a few sons, but Nangong Ouchin is his most promising heir to the throne. No one else can compare with Nangong Ouchin. This is a loss that the royal family cannot afford. In his opinion, this Bailey Hongzhuang is simply a lunatic. It's just that Bailey Hongzhuang is a lowlife. If Nangong Ouchin loses because of Bailey Hongzhuang, it is not a good outcome. TL/in1 text actually says Ouchin, but I think the author made a mistake since Ouchin isn't old. Seeking death, Mo Yunjue. At this moment, Nangong Yujin was just rejoicing that the person being held hostage by Bailey Hongzhuang was not himself. Who would have thought that Nangong Ouchin, who was normally always proud, would experience this today? This tactic is really too cruel. Bailey Hongzhuang, do you know the consequences of what you are doing? Nangong Oi's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. His eyes were full of anger. As the emperor of Qingxiao Kingdom, he was now trying to negotiate with a student. It was simply beyond contemptible. Get to the point. In response to the aura created by Nangong Oi, Bailey Hongzhuang only coldly returned these words. One, the royal family and others just like to say a lot of such nonsense. Doesn't it save a lot of time to just get to the point? Do you really think that you will be able to leave Qingxiao Kingdom alive if you hold Nangong Ouchen hostage? All your friends will be implicated because of your foolish behavior. Nangong Oui stood up, and the Emperor's chi burst out. He will kill Bailey Hongzhuang. Master, just now a strong breath locked on us. Xiao He frowned slightly. This breath didn't exist at all before. He thinks this person just appeared. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes also flashed with a touch of coldness. She saw that the previous Nangong Oui had clearly weakened. So why did he become stronger again at this moment? We don't need you to worry about us, Xia Jiqing said angrily. What kind of emperor of Qingxiao Kingdom threatens a group of students? It's really shameless. Nangong Oui's eyes were as sharp as knives, and he looked at Xia Jiqing fiercely. It's just that Xia Jiqing has always been a simple-minded individual. Nangong Oui's eyes can scare others but not her. Xiao He, are you capable of dealing with this person? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. As Qingxiao Kingdom is a big country, the power of the royal family, needless to say, is bound to have some extremely powerful perverts. Even if Nangong Ouchen is in her hands, these old guys will still have a way to rescue Nangong Ouchen. This should be an old monster with strong strength. There may be a chance if we join forces with the black and white double evil, Xiao He said solemnly. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. Being able to make Xiao He and Xiao Bai so cautious is enough to prove how abnormal this old guy's strength is. Speaking of which, she still underestimated the shamelessness of Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family. Otherwise she would have made some preparations earlier, and the situation would not have ended up like this. In that case, it seems we can only fight. Bailey Hongzhuang's hands flashed in with a determined radiance. She would never choose to give up. Bailey Hongzhuang die. Nangong Oui looked into midair. Now that things have come to a head, they cannot continue to delay, as Nangong Ouchen's hand also needed to be treated as soon as possible. At Nangong Oui's words, everyone felt an extremely tyrannical force erupt, followed by a figure who quickly flew towards Bailey Hongzhuang with a strong killing intent. Mo Yunjue's eyes froze suddenly, and when this murderous intent appeared, Mo Yunjue's figure also turned into a black light and rushed out. Bailey Hongzhuang is the woman Mo Yunjue has his eyes on, and if anyone wants to kill Bailey Hongzhuang, they have to get through him first. Seeking death, Mo Yunjue's eyes flashed with a bloodly light. The royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom clearly knew the extraordinary relationship between Bailey Hongzhuang and him, and still dared to do this. It seems that their power during this period of time has made them forget how much strength they actually have themselves. TL/N1 This sentence actually says coldly return these 3 words, but I translated them into 4, but in Chinese it's 3 characters. Who dares to touch my wife? Bailey Hongzhuang could only feel a ferocious aura locked onto her, and she couldn't resist with her current strength. However, just as Xiao He and Xiao Bai were about to make a move, someone was already in front of Bailey Hongzhuang, blocking. Who dares to touch my wife? A deep and furious voice sounded, revealing the same domineering and decisiveness as before. Just one sentence revealed unspeakable power. Who dares touch her? A cold, chilly voice rang out, filled with a kind of threat and pressure that penetrated deep into the marrow, causing people to feel chills down their backs. These 2 voices sounded almost at the same time, and 2 proud and upright figures, one gold and one black, had already stood in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Boom! The 2 of them slammed their palms against that person at lightning speed, and everyone only saw a wave of energy rippling away. This kind of powerful strike is much more terrifying than the fight between academy students. Bailey Hongzhuang stared in astonishment at the 2 figures in front of her. Her exquisite face was full of surprise and disbelief. Bewitching. The one in a pale gold color looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. The brutality and anger turned into tenderness and pampering the moment he saw Bailey Hongzhuang. However, when Bewitching's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang's blood-stained clothes, an uncontrollable indignation swept wildly across his heart again. Who did it? The deep and oppressive voice swept through like a boundless storm. He went back to the sect because of an incident, and hurried back after solving it. From Heimu's mouth, he learned that Bailey Hongzhuang had come to Qingxiao Kingdom to attend the Academy exchange meeting. so he rushed over quickly. The closer he got to the royal arena, the more the uneasiness in his heart intensified. Unexpectedly, there was a royal guard guarding the door, so he rushed in without hesitation. However, when he saw the situation in the martial arts arena clearly, his heart was almost broken. With just a glance from his eyes, Bewitching already understood what happened. Huan Chuyu and the team from Kanglin Academy were taken hostage unexpectedly, leaving only Bailey Hongzhuang holding the prince hostage to confront Nangong Oi on the martial arts arena. You don't need to think about it to know that Bailey Hongzhuang was forced to do it. These guys from Qingxiao Kingdom are so shameless. And the whole country's power was used to deal with the team from Kanglin Academy. Nangong Aochen's heart shuddered. The power exuded by this man in front of him was almost stronger than his father. He had always felt that his strength is unrivaled among young people. It wasn't until he fought with Bailey Hongzhuang that he realized that this woman younger than him had such tyrannical strength. However, after seeing the man in front of him, he was even more shocked. Because when facing this man, he had a feeling that he couldn't compare with him. This Bewitching, who the hell is he? A reassured smile appeared on her pale face, and Bailey Hongzhuang, whose body had been tightly wounded, relaxed a little bit after seeing Bewitching. Although the situation in front of her is still bad, as long as Bewitching is there, she can feel at ease. Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head slightly. This matter is a long story. First solve the most immediate problem first. At the same time, Bewitching's gaze fell on Mo Yunjue. This man's strength shocked him. At such an age with such strength, he is definitely not an ordinary person. TL/1TL/Yay. He's back. Chapter 871. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Dr. Unscrupulous Consort Mo Yunjue was surprised for a moment when he saw Bewitching appear, but he recovered his indifference in the blink of an eye. Bailey Hongzhuang was in such a dangerous situation. If Bewitching hadn't appeared, then he was really unqualified to be a husband. The eyes of Bewitching and Mo Yunjue collided for a moment, and Bewitching immediately realized that he had a powerful love rival. Mo Yunjue's eyes did not hide his fondness for Bailey Hongzhuang at all, and that faint provocation was unbearable to Bewitching. Bailey Hongzhuang was equally astonished by Mo Yunjue's attack. Mo Yunjue's assistance was rare before, but Mo Yunjue was now hostile towards the royal family for her. This was a totally different notion. The first Tower 1 was built in the imperial city, and Mo Yunjue angering the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom, at this moment, was equivalent to a huge loss to himself. At that moment, Bailey Hongzhuang finally understood what Mo Yunjue had done. Mo Yunjue, Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly. She couldn't say anything other than thank you. However, before Bailey Hongzhuang finished speaking, Mo Yunjue raised his hand to stop her. What he wanted wasn't Bailey Hongzhuang's gratitude. After seeing the sudden appearance of Bewitching and Mo Yunjue, all the people present were filled with amazement. At the critical moment, there were two heroes who saved the beauty. The most important thing is that these two young people joined forces to fight against the royal master's palm attack, and they were still unharmed. Isn't that the boss from the first tower? I've heard that Bailey Hongzhuang is Mo Yunjue's wife, and now it seems to be true. No, isn't it the man in the light golden brocade robe who claims that Bailey Hongzhuang is his wife? What's going on? The crowd was completely dumbfounded. Whether it was Bewitching or Mo Yunjue, taking action at such a time was enough to prove the status of Bailey Hongzhuang in their hearts. But, are these two people both Bailey Hongzhuang's husband? Bewitching's hearing too shifted slightly, and he heard the chatter from the crowd. His eyes flashed a cold light, and he looked at Mo Yunjue again, his expression changing a bit. Damn it! What did this guy do in his absence? Bewitching was furious. If he knew this would happen, he would have left with Hongzhuang, and she would not have fallen into such a situation. Compared to the storm in Bewitching's heart, Mo Yunjue seemed very calm. However, Bewitching also knew that now was not the time to dwell on this. It is the Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family that was their biggest problem. What's more, he has enough trust in Hongzhuang, and believed that it was only Mo Yunjue's one-sided thoughts. When Xia Jiqing and the others saw Bewitching appear, Their eyes couldn't help but show excitement. Bewitching was the one with the highest level person among all of them. Even though the Qingshao kingdom was a large country, the strength of the Tiangang sect was even greater. Nangong Oi absolutely did not dare take action against the young master of the Tiangang sect. After Nangong Yue saw Mo Yunjue and Bewitching standing in front of Bailey Hongzhuang together, intense jealousy engulfed her heart. How dare Bailey Hongzhuang have one foot in two boats? Against all reason, these two guys seemed to be willing to do anything for Bailey Hongzhuang. Why? What had Bailey Hongzhuang done to deserve this? TL/N1TL/N. Seen back in chapter 677 to 678 2TL/N. Weird. The word is actually earlobes. Is there such a phrase? Chapter 872. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort. Strength is not bad. A deep, hoarse voice sounded, and only then did the crowd notice that at some point an old man stood beside Nangong Oi. The withered old man exuded the aura of dying, but his eyes were unusually bright, not at all like a dying old man. This old man was obviously the one who attacked Bailey Hongzhuang earlier. Bewitching's gaze met Nangong Oi and the others. His handsome and extraordinary face was filled with an extremely glacial coldness. No matter who these guys are, anyone who dares to hurt his wife is his enemy. After Nangong Oi saw Mo Yunjue strike, his calm eyes also fluctuated, revealing his incredulity. He has a certain understanding of how powerful Mo Yunjue is, but the other party is unfathomable, so even he doesn't know anything. He also had some understanding of the fact that Mo Yunjue and Bailey Hongzhuang were close, but in his opinion, it was just a woman, and Mo Yunjue could not have turned against the royal family for a woman. However, the situation in front of him clearly proved that his belief was wrong. Unexpectedly, this Mo Yunjue turned out to be this infatuated. It was not wise to be an enemy of the royal family for Bailey Hongzhuang. In the next second, Nangong Oi's gaze fell on Bewitching. It was the first time he has seen Bewitching, but he didn't dare underestimate him. The aura exuded by this young man was astonishing. As the monarch of a country, he knows very well that this kind of aura is not something that ordinary people can have. Only those in high positions can have it. Bewitching's temperament, power, and strength all revealed his exceptional existence. This is definitely a person that cannot be ignored. Who are you? Nangong Oi asked. For a moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on Bewitching. They also wanted to know the identity of this man who suddenly appeared. Bewitching looked at Nangong Oi indifferently and opened his thin lips lightly. Tiangang sect Bewitching. Tiangang sect. When everyone heard the name Tiangang sect, their eyes were full of shock. That is an extremely powerful force in the Shengxian continent. Anyone who can become a disciple of the Tiangang sect is a real dragon and phoenix among men. The young man in front of him turned out to be a disciple of Tiangang sect. Nangong Oi's pupil shrank. While everyone was shocked by the name Tiangang sect, what shocked him was the name, Bewitching. Bewitching. He had heard of this name before, but he didn't expect to hear it here today. Bewitching, the young master of the Tiangang sect, a well-deserved young hero. Although Nangong Ouchen is strong, it is only within the scope of Qingshao Kingdom, and it was not worth mentioning compared with the real geniuses of the Shengxian continent like Bewitching. An ordinary Kanglin Academy student turned out to be the wife of the young master of the Tiangang sect? What is this? Nangong Oi couldn't believe it. Could it be that today's sects don't have the slightest respect for lineage? Although Bailey Hongzhuang's strength is very outstanding, if she wanted to become Bewitching's wife, she doesn't have the qualifications yet. Nangong Oi didn't doubt Bewitching's identity. Bewitching's demeanor alone proved everything. But it was a bit more than he could have imagined. I'm going to leave with the people from Kanglin Academy now. Chapter 873. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Bewitching's voice was arrogant and could not be denied. Even when facing the Emperor of Qingshao Kingdom, his attitude was still domineering. Today's situation is not something you can escape. At that moment, The old man with the withered appearance had already opened his mouth. He was very dissatisfied with what Nangong Oi had caused this time. According to the rules of the royal family, one should not act without absolute certainty. The situation has now deadlocked, and it is impossible to offend Tiangang sect. But if everyone in Kanglin Academy is let go, the reputation of the Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family will be dealt a huge blow. Nangong Oi obviously understood the impact of this incident, but he never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would have anything to do with the young master of Tiangang sect. Oh! The corners of Di Beichen's mouth once again showed an evil smile, but the coldness and chill in his eyes became more and more terrifying. If anything happens to my wife, I will make the entire Qingxiao Kingdom be buried with her. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. What is the identity of this Di Beichen? If he is just an ordinary disciple of the Tiangang sect, he would not dare say such a thing. The eyes of the crowd flickered with incredulity. The Qingxiao Kingdom is so huge, even if the Tiangang sect is a bigger existence, it would be impossible to achieve this by relying on Di Beichen alone. Di Beichen, this name is so familiar. Where have I heard it? Nangong Yuer kept thinking in her mind. She always felt that she had heard this name before, but for a while she couldn't recall it. Suddenly, Nangong Yuer's eyes froze, and a look of disbelief appeared in her eyes. The young sect master of Tiangang sect, Di Beichen? A feeling of disbelief spread in Nangong Yuer's heart. How could such a superior existence appear here? Bailey Hongzhuang turned out to be his wife. How could this be possible? As we all know, Di Beichen, the young master of the Tiangang sect, is Prince Charming in the hearts of all women. How many people had wishful dreams? Even her status is not worthy of Di Beichen. But an ordinary commoner like Bailey Hongzhuang can win Di Beichen's heart. Nangong Yuer's voice unconsciously raised a bit as she said this in horror. After hearing Nangong Yuer, the faces of the people who were confused at first changed suddenly, and their puzzled expressions turned into deep horror. The young master of the Tiangang sect. Such a superior existence appeared here unexpectedly. At that moment, no one doubted the weight of Di Beichen's words. With his strength, he could destroy the entire Qingxiao Kingdom. However, the royal family still dared to say such words. Are they crazy? The old man obviously did not expect Di Beichen's attitude to be so resolute. Just this sentence from Di Beichen was enough to prove the weight of Bailey Hongzhuang in his heart. Mo Yunjue also looked at Di Beichen beside him. He was no stranger to Di Beichen. Since long ago, the name Di Beichen has been shrouded in a halo. Not only that, he also understood how Di Beichen ended up with Bailey Hongzhuang. In fact, he didn't care about the others, but Di Beichen's vision is indeed good. Is the golden unicorn a thing in a pool? Once the situation changes, Bailey Hongzhuang's future will definitely not be limited by a trifling identity. In the future, Bailey Hongzhuang will definitely shine like a pearl, and he too will not let go. TL/N1 My guess is this is a saying meaning, can a superior person be limited by its environment? Chapter 874. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Xia Jiqing, and the others watched this scene in shock, their eyes filled with amazement. Domineering. Di Beichen is really too domineering. In front of the Emperor of Qingxiao Kingdom, no one except Di Beichen would be able to say such a thing. It seemed that since the appearance of Di Beichen, the situation that was originally tense and impossible to solve seemed to be less scary. The woman in white on the competition stage was so domineering and ruthless before, but since the appearance of Di Beichen, her eyes reflected a touch of tenderness. Bailey Hongzhuang is their hero, and Di Beichen is Bailey Hongzhuang's hero. Nangong Oi's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries. He understood that the reason why Di Beichen was so anxious at this moment was entirely because of Bailey Hongzhuang. It was clear in his heart that no matter what, Bailey Hongzhuang could not have an accident today. Otherwise, before the huge Tiangang sect, even the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom is nothing. However, in the current situation, they really have way out. If Di Beichen and others were allowed to leave like this, even if they completely blocked the news, many people would still know about it. There is no impregnable wall in this world. As the next monarch of Qingshao Kingdom, Nangong Aochen originally wanted to use the Academy Exchange meeting as an opportunity to let everyone know how powerful he was to lay a good foundation for his ascension to the throne. However, now, Nangong Aochen was not only defeated by a woman whose strength was 2 levels weaker than him, but even had his tendons broken in public. For Nangong Aochen, this was definitely a great shame. Even Nangong Oui was extremely depressed at that moment. In the past, Kanglin Academy had always been the subject of abuse. Why did Di Beichen's wife stay in the Kanglin Academy to cultivate and participate in the competition on behalf of the Kanglin Academy? It's no wonder that Bailey Hongzhuang's previous performance was so amazing. It is impossible for her to be the beloved of Di Beichen if she was not strong. Di Beichen immediately hugged Bailey Hongzhuang in his arms, with a careful look at Bailey Hongzhuang, as if she was a peerless treasure, for fear of accidentally hurting her. All the women present admired Di Beichen after they discovered his identity. Seeing Di Beichen, with such a noble identity, treating Bailey Hongzhuang so tenderly, their envy of Bailey Hongzhuang reached an extreme peak. This Bailey Hongzhuang is too happy, right? If I could be held in Di Beichen's arms, it would be worth 10 years of my life. I thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was extraordinary from the very beginning. Bailey Hongzhuang's identity is so extraordinary. The people who originally felt that it was impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to be both a cultivator and a pharmacist, and at the same time be very accomplished in inscriptions, now understood Bailey Hongzhuang's identity. Got it. There are always some special geniuses in this world that cannot be compared against ordinary people. Nangong Yuer looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, who was held in Di Beichen's arms. Her 5 fingers were tightly closed, and her nails were deeply embedded in her palm. She didn't realize it was dripping blood. Drip drip. Blood dripped on the ground. Nangong Yuer had never been so jealous of someone in her life. She had liked Mo Yunjue for so long, but he had always been indifferent towards her. Now Mo Yunjue is taking such good care of Bailey Hongzhuang, and she was already married. Could it be that in Mo Yunjue's heart, she can't even compare to a married woman? Chapter 875. Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Doctor Unscrupulous Consort Di Beichen's gaze fell on Nangong Oui and the others. If Qingshao Kingdom really wants to perish, then so be it. After he finished speaking Di Beichen didn't even look at Nangong Oui and the others, and walked off the competition arena with Bailey Hongzhuang in his arms. If a mere Qingshao Kingdom dares to stop him, they will be seeking death. He understood that the attitude of Nangong Oui and others was just to give themselves a way to save face. But he just won't give it. As a strong person, there was no need for him to consider the feelings of the weak. Qingshao Kingdom's royal family dared to treat Bailey Hongzhuang like this, which has already aroused his anger. But now Hongzhuang's injury is the most important concern. He has to help Hongzhuang take care of her injuries first. As for the rest, we'll settle the scores later. As he turned around, Di Beichen's gaze collided with Mo Yunjue's for a moment. He naturally didn't have any good feelings for this man who coveted his wife. But no matter what, this man helped Hongzhuang. So he was still grateful. Understanding the meaning in Di Beichen's eyes, Mo Yunjue smiled faintly, and he shrugged indifferently. He clearly understood that his current situation was just taking the opportunity to take care of Bailey Hongzhuang when Di Beichen was not around. As for rest, it was not time yet. Nangong Oui and others looked at Di Beichen's domineering behavior, and their expressions became extremely ugly. Indeed, with the strength of Tiangang's sect, there was no need to talk to them at all, because strength is everything. After seeing Di Beichen's actions, Huan Qiu also stood up immediately, glanced at Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi with cold eyes, turned around and decided to leave. From now on, Kanglin Academy, Lingyin Academy, and Beihai Academy have no connection at all. Huan Qiu straightened his back, and his words were filled with freedom and spontaneity. He and Ren Tianxiong should have made this decision a long time ago, and now that he has said such a thing, he felt extremely relaxed. When Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi were enjoying all the benefits and glory brought by the royal family, they never realized that they had lost control over their academies. Perhaps This feeling is not clear enough now, but it won't be long before they understand that they are simply puppets. It's a pity that they can't see the forest for the trees. Jian Qingxiu and Song Hongxi stared blankly at Huan Chuyo's leaving back, wanting to say something but couldn't. Faintly, they also felt some hints from the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom's actions this time. But this seems to be a situation that is difficult to change. After Gong Xiaoqing and others saw that Huan Chuyu had gotten up and left, they no longer hesitated. They just wished they could leave this place as soon as possible. In such a greedy place, even the air reeks of decay. After seeing this scene, the royal guards couldn't help but look at Nangong Oui on the high platform, only to see that Nangong Oui's face was livid. But he didn't let them stop them. In fact, they don't dare stop them. Isn't that asking for death? When Bewitching walked out of the royal arena, with Bailey Hongzhuang in his arms, he realized that the royal guards who were blocking the outside had all been brought down at some point. Seeing this scene, there was a hint of understanding in everyone's eyes. Except for Mo Yunjue. I am afraid that no one else would do such a thing. TL/N1 This is my guess. What does the phrase really mean? Why is the phase sunset in there? Infatuation. Mo Yunjue at that moment, Gong Xiaoqing and others also understood that earlier, Mo Yunjue hadn't been inactive. He had been helping everyone by cleaning up the situation outside. Mo Yunjue was willing to make an enemy of the entire royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom for Bailey Hongzhuang. This alone is enough to prove Mo Yunjue's feelings for Bailey Hongzhuang. You go to the inn to stay first. I will go find Fu Hongbo and Dongfang Yu, and I will find you later. Lu Huayan said. Hearing this, everyone's expressions quietly changed a little, but soon returned to normal. Now that Bewitching was here, even if Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family knew where they were, they wouldn't dare do anything to them. They believed that Lu Huayan and others would be fine. After Bewitching and his group left, Mo Yunjue gave Nangong Oui a cold, stern look, turned around, and walked down the competition stage with indifference. It seems that he never let Nangong Oui and others know how powerful he was over the years, so Nangong Oui and others thought that they were great. It was time for him to take action. The royal family clearly knew that he had an extraordinary relationship with Bailey Hongzhuang, but they still dared to do this. He has been too low-key. Feeling Mo Yunjue's gaze, Nangong Oui felt a chill. He had always known that Mo Yunjue was not an ordinary person, except that all this time, Mo Yunjue had always acted indifferently, until Bailey Hongzhuang appeared. He saw the cold and stern light in Mo Yunjue's eyes, and he suddenly realized that his decision was wrong. He always thought that to Mo Yunjue, Bailey Hongzhuang was just a beautiful woman. In this world, women have always been men's accessories. He believed that Mo Yunjue's interest in Bailey Hongzhuang was just a passing interest, and this kind of interest usually doesn't last long. It was absolutely impossible for Mo Yunjue to clash with the royal family because of Bailey Hongzhuang. Now it seems that things were completely different from what he had imagined. Mo Yunjue's concern for Bailey Hongzhuang exceeded his expectations. Bailey Hongzhuang was already married to someone else, yet Mo Yunjue was willing to do so much for her. He never knew that Mo Yunjue would be such a devoted suitor. Everyone watched as Mo Yunjue confidently left after making his move. Their expressions also changed slightly. Ever since Bewitching appeared, all of their attention had been drawn to him. After all, they hardly ever got the chance to see someone like Bewitching normally. Seeing Mo Yunjue leave so calmly at this moment, they finally realized that Mo Yunjue's identity was not simple. Nangong Yuer's gaze closely followed the tall and slender black figure, but Mo Yunjue never looked at her once. Huan Chuyu and the others returned to the inn where they previously stayed. Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries were very severe, with broken ribs, excessive blood loss, and after having confronted Nangong Ouchen for so long, the exhaustion was understandable. Bewitching put Bailey Hongzhuang on the bed, and Xia Jiqing and the others immediately went out to help Bailey Hongzhuang find a doctor. Although Bailey Hongzhuang is a genius doctor herself, it is impossible for her to heal herself in the situation in front of her. After everyone left, Only Bailey Hongzhuang and Bewitching were left in the room. Looking at the handsome face in front of her, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes glimmered with a hint of joy and happiness. Her delicate and slender fingers slowly covered Bewitching's face. You came. TL/in one text actually says Nangong Oi, but she fought Ouchin. Won't leave you looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's pale face. Bewitching's eyes showed a deep heartache. I'm late. His deep words were filled with guilt and remorse. If he had returned earlier, Hongzhuang would not have been seriously injured. In other words, it was because he hadn't taken good care of Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's right hand covered Bewitching's tightly furrowed eyebrows, smoothing them out with a gentle smile spreading across her lips. It's my lack of thoroughness. It's not your problem. Don't blame yourself. So far, Bewitching has helped her too many times. Almost every time a problem arises, Bewitching helped her solve it. She doesn't want to always need the protection of Bewitching. What she hopes is that one day she can stand confidently by his side, instead of being his weakness. No one expected what happened this time, and it had no connection to Bewitching. She didn't want to see Bewitching blame himself. As cultivators, everyone understands the risks they may encounter, and this is a perfectly normal thing. Bewitching held Bailey Hongzhuang's hand tightly and nodded slightly, but his eyes were still filled with guilt and heartache. The actions taken by the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom this time may have exceeded everyone's expectations, but he believed that as long as he is by Hongzhuang's side, she will not fall into such a dangerous situation. From now on, I won't leave you. Bewitching's eyes shone with a determined and persistent light. He had already made a decision. No matter what happens in the future, he will never be separated from Bailey Hongzhuang again. Hongzhuang didn't know that when he saw her standing on the competition stage covered in blood, her pale face and pitiful appearance almost made his heart stop. He was so afraid that if he had arrived a little later, Hongzhuang might disappear from his life. That was absolutely unacceptable to him. The offensive sight of blood deeply stabbed his heart. At that time, he only felt an indescribable rage and killing intent spread in his heart. If something happens to Hongzhuang, he will definitely let the whole Qingxiao Kingdom be buried with him. Bailey Hongzhuang had a gentle and happy smile on her lips. She was already very happy to see Bewitching back at this time. No matter when, Bewitching will always be her hero, the only hero. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Bailey Hongzhuang's affection was reflected in her gaze. As a doctor, she had a certain understanding of her injuries. Although her ribs were broken, she didn't hurt her foundation. She appeared extremely weak, because she lost a lot of blood, due to the prolonged confrontation in the martial arts arena. Soon, the doctor arrived, and was surprised when he saw Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries. He quickly began to treat her. It wasn't until Bailey Hongzhuang fell into a deep sleep that Bewitching walked out of the room. Xiajiqing and the others were all outside the door. Now that something like this happened, they were all very worried about Bailey Hongzhuang, and when they faced Bewitching, they felt an unspeakable guilt in their hearts. With so many people in the royal martial arts arena, they still had to rely on the youngest, by Li Hongzhang, to block all the storms for them, which was really embarrassing and weak. Bewitching, I'm sorry we were so useless. Cui Haoyan's eyes were filled with guilt. Bailey Hongzhuang saved his life, but at that time, he had no way to help. Ruthless, Bewitching, not only Cui Haoyan, Gong Xiaoqing and others also showed guilt on their faces. Normally, they are very successful in the academy, but since coming to Qingxiao Kingdom, they discovered the gap between them and others. In front of this huge royal family, their power seemed so weak. Except for Bailey Hongzhuang's ability to confront Nangong Oi, they were completely under control. If it wasn't for Bewitching's arrival, perhaps they would have to die today in the royal arena and never come out again. We are truly useless. Hongzhuang was seriously injured, yet she wanted to protect us. Xia Jiqing lowered her head. She knew that Hongzhuang's injuries must be very severe, and with the delay, it was very detrimental to Hongzhuang's injuries. Even though she has returned, when she thinks of the scene in the royal arena where they fought, she felt an indescribable anger and hatred in her heart. However, when facing Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen, she only felt guilty. Di Beichen looked at the guilty expressions on everyone's faces, and his expression softened a bit as he comforted them. This matter has exceeded everyone's expectations. You don't have to blame yourselves. Hearing Di Beichen's reassurance, the guilt in everyone's hearts did not dissipate. Today's scene really had an impact on them. No matter how arrogant they are, only after they have gone to a wider world could they understand the gap between them and those with great power. This huge gap simply cannot be crossed with just their own strength. Noticing the changes in everyone's expressions, Di Beichen did not say much. They will see the so-called reality sooner or later. And it is not a bad thing to understand it sooner. Once their mindset is completely transformed, their mindset will be more peaceful, and it will be more helpful for future growth. Everyone is already tired today. Why don't you go to rest first? Di Beichen said slowly. After what happened today, everyone was tired both physically and mentally. After Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries improve a little, they will leave. He believed that the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom would immediately block today's news, but their continued stay in Qingxiao Kingdom would attract the attention of interested people. Leaving earlier can also save some trouble. Everyone listened and nodded. They had already learned about Bailey Hongzhuang's condition from the doctor, and feared that she would need to rest for a while. Although the injuries were very serious, fortunately it did not hurt her foundation. As long as she was given a certain amount of time, she would be able to recover completely. After everyone left, a deep and fierce light appeared in Di Beichen's eyes. Nangong Aochen dared to hurt Hongzhuang to such an extent. He naturally couldn't watch Nangong Aochen become the heir to Qingxiao Kingdom. Whoever dares to hurt Hongzhuang, he will not let go. It's just that it's still early. Once it is nighttime, he needs to go out to solve some issues. However, just as Di Beichen returned to the house, Huan Chuyu came to look for him. Vice Principal. Di Beichen poured a cup of tea for Huan Chuyu. Do you have something you need to tell me? Huan Chuyu looked deeply at Di Beichen, who has always been a clever person. Di Beichen's deep love for Bailey Hongzhuang also shocked him. How are Hongzhuang's injuries? Excessive blood loss, broken ribs, and some internal injuries, but they can recover after a period of recuperation. Di Beichen said slowly. Decision. Di Beichen's expression was calm and composed. He knew that Huan Chuyu was here to see him for a reason. It's just that Huan Chuyu didn't say anything, and he wasn't in a hurry. Huan Chuyu looked at Di Beichen's indifferent expression, and there was a gleam of admiration in his eyes. The young master of the Tiangang sect is indeed not an ordinary person. Just his bearing alone is not comparable to that of an ordinary young person. The royal family of the Qingxiao Kingdom is heavily guarded. After what happened today, the entire royal family will definitely strengthen their patrols. They may have already set up a trap. Based on Huan Chuyu's understanding of Di Beichen, Di Beichen would definitely not just stand by and watch Bailey Hongzhuang get hurt without doing anything. And if he could predict that, the royal family would naturally be able to predict it too. Today's events have already made the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom look bad. And now that something like this has happened, the royal family will definitely be more careful. It would be fine if Di Beichen was with members of the Tiangang sect. But if he went alone, the royal family might do something crazy. As Huan Chuyu's words fell, Di Beichen's expression changed slightly. To be able to become the vice principal of Kanglin Academy, Huan Chuyu's foresight is not ordinary. He understood that Huan Chuyu's reminder to him at this moment was only for his safety. Needless to say, it is an easy thing to crush the Qingxiao Kingdom with the power of the entire Tiangang sect. However, right now he is only one person in Qingxiao Kingdom, and it is undoubtedly very difficult for him to deal with the royal family by himself. Huan Chuyu noticed the change in Di Beichen's expression and knew that Di Beichen listened to his words. Bailey Hongzhuang still needs your care. After Huan Chuyu left this statement, he left calmly. He had already said everything he needed to say. As for what Di Beichen would do, it was up to his own decision. When they crossed the border of Qingxiao Kingdom, everything in Qingxiao Kingdom will have nothing to do with them. Risking their lives is unnecessary. After Huan Chuyu left, Di Baichen drank all the tea up. Perhaps what Huan Chuyu said had some truth. But he was Di Baichen. He absolutely will not allow the person who hurt his wife to live in peace. From the moment they dared to treat Hongzhuang like that, this outcome was already destined. Night gradually descended, and the entire Qingxiao kingdom was shrouded in a layer of darkness. The atmosphere in the imperial city today seems different. All the people in the imperial city were very curious about the final result of the Academy Exchange competition. The Academy Exchange competition they watched 2 days ago was very enjoyable. The strength of the cultivators from the 3 major academies was not to be underestimated. Especially with the emergence of a dark horse like Bailey Hongzhuang from Kanglan Academy, they felt that today's finals was very exciting. Just as they eagerly awaited the final outcome, there was not a single word about the final match. All the people who watched the finals were silent, as if it was a big taboo, so much so that they didn't know anything about the finals. But the more the other party kept silent, the more they realized that there was something fishy going on. After all, previous Academy Exchange matches were not like this. What on earth happened? Everyone kept guessing, but there was no result. Di Baichen checked Bailey Hongzhuang's condition and saw that she was sleeping soundly. His gaze quietly fell out the window. The night was getting dark. Collision between love rivals. Di Baichen covered Bailey Hongzhuang with the quilt and left a soft kiss on her forehead. The next moment, Di Baichen disappeared from the room. Royal Palace. Di Baichen flew swiftly through the night. He had already inquired about the location of the crown prince, and even with the multiple protections on the royal family, he felt as if killing Nangong Aochen would be as easy. However, just when Di Baichen was about to arrive at the prince's bedroom, a black figure appeared not far from him. Seeing this black figure, Di Baichen's eyes became darker and darker. He did not expect to meet Mo Yunjue here. It seems that the purpose of their trip tonight is the same. When Mo Yunjue saw Di Baichen, the surprise in his eyes quickly disappeared, and he immediately revealed a faint smile. It seems that Di Baichen has deep feelings for Bailey Hongzhuang. Even though the royal family of Qingxiao Kingdom had lost face to him in front of everyone today, he still did not feel happy. So he wanted to come and kill Nangong Aochen. As a man, he understands men best. Just by looking at Di Baichen's eyes, he already understood Di Baichen's determination to kill Nangong Aochen. Di Baichen didn't like Mo Yunjue, and he had never seen Mo Yunjue before. But from the moment he saw Mo Yunjue, he knew that Mo Yunjue was not an ordinary person. At the very least, there must be an extremely powerful force behind Mo Yunjue. Otherwise, a mere restaurant owner would not have the courage to confront the royal family. Not to mention, Mo Yunjue also dealt with the royal guards outside. When they left, Mo Yunjue remained in the royal arena, but he came out safe and sound. This alone is enough to prove Mo Yunjue's strength. The two looked at each other, and their hearts were full of turmoil. War between men has always been intense. I am very grateful for your care of Hongzhuang before. But if you have any unreasonable thoughts, I hope you can cut them off. Di Baichen's voice was slightly deep. He saw the persistent light in Mo Yunjue's eyes. All those who have bad intentions against Hongzhuang are his opponents. Hearing this, Mo Yunjue chuckled lightly. Master Di is really domineering. Even if Hongzhuang is already intended for you, you are not worthy of the title husband and wife. Maybe there will be changes in the future, and this situation may change. After all, Han Xiling is not someone who will give up easily. As Mo Yunjue's words fell, Di Baichen's deep, dark eyes filled with a sharp light. Mo Yunjue knew so much about the situation between him and Hongzhuang. So far, he and Hongzhuang only have the name of husband and wife, and no one should know the truth about it except him and Hongzhuang. But Mo Yunjue knew. Could it be that Hongzhuang told him? As soon as this idea emerged, it was rejected by Di Baichen. It was impossible for Hongzhuang to talk about it. What's more, based on his understanding of Hongzhuang, she would never deny these things, because she wanted to spend a lifetime with him. In this way, Mo Yunjue's attention to Hongzhuang is not ordinary. That even this kind of thing can be found out shows that Mo Yunjue's methods are very good. This is a matter between me and Hongzhuang. You don't need to worry about it. Di Beichen's voice was cold. He had already spoken to this point. If Mo Yunjue still chose to act this way, then they could only be enemies. Trying to steal a chicken but losing the rice instead won. If you treat Hongzhuang well, I naturally have no chance, but if you don't, then I won't be polite. Mo Yunjue's eyes seemed to flash a cold light with a hint of a smile. He knew that he was not in Hongzhuang's heart now. However, the current situation did not represent the final outcome. From the earlier confrontation between Bailey Hongzhuang and Han Xiling at the ruins, it can be seen that if Di Beichen's attitude is not decisive enough in dealing with this matter, the situation may change. He has one advantage, which is that he never gets impatient. Looking at Mo Yunjue's appearance, Di Beichen's eyes narrowed slightly. It seems that he has really encountered a formidable opponent. The other party clearly knew his identity, yet still dared to do this. His identity is truly worth investigating. He has to investigate it. After all, Mo Yunjue has investigated his affairs so clearly. Naturally, he also needs to understand. Then, I'm afraid you are wasting your time. Di Beichen lazily looked at Mo Yunjue. But his handsome eyes, as deep as the sea, shone with seriousness and determination. He will never allow anyone to step in between Hongzhuang and himself. In the next moment, Di Beichen's figure swept past and continued to move towards the bedroom where Nangong Aochen was located. Now that things have come to this, there is nothing positive to say between him and Mo Yunjue. He will not give Mo Yunjue any chance. Mo Yunjue didn't care, and also swept towards Nangong Aochen's bedroom. Qingxiao Kingdom's royal family has gone too far this time, and they should indeed pay a price. This Nangong Aochen's life cannot be kept. Just as Huan Chu thought, the royal family understood that Di Beichen would not easily leave. They had already protected the place where Nangong Aochen lived. However, what happened next exceeded their expectations, because Nangong Aochen suddenly had a high fever that could not be controlled, and all the imperial doctors were at a loss after examining him. In a short period of time, Nangong Aochen had already lost consciousness and was confused. His injuries showed no sign of healing at all. After learning about this, Nangong Oi was furious. Nangong Aochen's experience today was a great shame, and after returning, he even became like this. Nangong Oi's mood can be imagined. However, after Nangong Oi knew that Bailey Hongzhuang had fed Nangong Aochen a pill, his expression changed a bit. He naturally knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was an alchemist, and at such a critical moment, the thing that Bailey Hongzhuang fed Nangong Aochen would not be something good. Nangong Oi looked at the imperial physician kneeling on the ground and said furiously, "Hurry and go invite the alchemist. Aochen's current state is definitely caused by Bailey Hongzhuang." Yes. The imperial physician scrambled off the ground as he left. Nangong Aochen's status in Qingxiao Kingdom is extremely important. If something happened to Nangong Aochen, I'm afraid their lives would be lost. Nangong Oi's expression was extremely unpleasant. Bailey Hongzhuang is an alchemist, and the things she takes out can only be solved by alchemists. In this academy exchange match, the royal family did make a wrong decision, and now it's truly a case of trying to steal a chicken, but losing the rice instead. Nangong Aochen has become like this. Even if he had dealt with it as soon as he came back, his hand tendons were pricked, and it would still very difficult to recover. TL/N1 trying to gain advantage, only ending up worse off. 2 trying to gain advantage, only ending up worse off. Concern, Di Beichen. When Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue came to Nangong Aochen's bedroom, they saw this scene. They didn't know that Bailey Hongzhuang had even fed Nangong Aochen a pill. Judging from the helpless situation of these people, they could tell that Bailey Hongzhuang's attack was sufficiently ruthless. She had already decided not to let Nangong Aochen go. Di Beichen and Mo Yunjue were both astonished. An ordinary woman would not know how to handle such a situation. However, Bailey Hongzhuang not only dealt with it calmly, but even had a solution in mind, which was truly astonishing. After seeing this, a realization shone in Di Beichen's eyes. He understands the medical skills of Hongzhuang, But if she had already taken action, then she would surely not let Nangong Ouchen be detoxified so easily. It seems that Hongzhuang had already thought of everything, and his trip was in vain. Hongzhuang is really amazing, we've been outdone. Mo Yunjue's eyes glowed with admiration. Bailey Hongzhuang was both smart and brave, showing no mercy towards her enemies. It's hard to imagine that such an outstanding woman grew up in such an environment. Bewitching glanced at Mo Yunjue and left the palace in a flash. Mo Yunjue watched as Bewitching left. A meaningful smile spread across his lips. Perhaps he was late compared to Bewitching, but that didn't mean that he will always be late in the future. With a flash of his body, Mo Yunjue's figure also disappeared into the darkness. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang woke up leisurely, and when she opened her eyes, she saw Bewitching beside the bed. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang waking up, a joyful smile appeared in Bewitching's eyes. "Wife, you are awake, do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly and shook her head. No. Bewitching poured a glass of water for Bailey Hongzhuang and gently fed it to her. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was just saying that. The pain from broken ribs is not something that one can recover from in a short period of time. But his wife has always been strong, not wanting to cause anyone worry. "My dear, you must be hungry. I'll go call someone to warm up the food for you." Bewitching's eyes were filled with tenderness and doting. After yesterday's battle, Hongzhuang had not eaten anything. She must be very hungry. He had already had a meal prepared, but he didn't know when Hongzhuang would wake up. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Bewitching's bustling figure, with a happy smile on her lips. She thought it would be very difficult to leave the royal arena alive. But now not only did she survive, everyone was also unharmed. She felt very lucky. Although her wounds were still painful, the pain had undoubtedly improved compared to what she had suffered from earlier. "Master, how are your injuries?" The eyes of Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi were full of concern, as they felt very sad seeing their master so injured. Bailey Hongzhuang reached out and touched the heads of the three little guys, and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I'm fine. You should be hungry too. I'll ask Bewitching to prepare some food for you in a moment." Listening to her words, the three beasts did not show any joy. Compared to eating, the most important thing at this moment is the safety of the master. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.